Oh.
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 I'm here. I'm driving. That's why I'm kind of not on camera right now.
Yes, I understand. I understand.
Hi.
It's good to see you. Merry Christmas, Happy New Year. I mean, it's been a while.
Yeah, Happy New Year, Merry Christmas to everyone, and yeah, it has been a while. It has been a very long
while. I mean, you know,
it's been an understandable. I was going to say it's been strange times we live in. Very strange times.
Yeah, but it sucks.
It's
so sucks.
Never ending.
Yes, and everybody that I know is like coming around. They're like, "Oh, yeah, I'm sorry." They're like, "Yeah, I'm sick. Yeah, I'm sick."
Yeah.
I was like, all right, just stay away.
It isn't nice to hear some people have been unwell, or you say, "How you doing?" They go, "I've just got COVID," or someone in my family's got it, or so it's been like, oh, crossing fingers and just hope everyone's well and making it through.
I got a bunch of those people trying to make it through and get through it. And even now, I mean, I had a few people just message me like, "Oh yeah, so and so has COVID. Oh yeah, my son had COVID. Oh, this." I'm like,
yeah. There are still COVID deniers out there who still think it doesn't exist. I don't know how.
Tell me about it.
Well, the other alternative reality in the real, or whatever reality we think we're in, yes, it's a real thing. So it's a concern. But as long as you're well, and everyone you guys both know, everyone knows are well.
Yeah,
and good.
The crazy thing about what's going on with COVID right now is that you have so many, just as there are so many different variants of COVID, you have the different variants of the conspiracy theories that they have out there.
Gosh,
you have the people who say that it doesn't exist.
Yeah.
Then you have the ones that say it does exist, but it's not that bad. And then you have the ones that flip-flop that say that it did exist, that it doesn't exist, but now it does exist, but it's not that bad, but it was started by the Democrats or China or the world government, whichever one whichever one fits their talking point at that moment. And then you have the people on the other side who's like, well, I don't want to take the vaccine because of some kind of immunity. And now there's something about weed. And before reading the article, they're just like, well, yeah, I can just smoke weed. And it's just like, that's not what the article says.
I saw that. I didn't read the article. I just saw that. I saw the headline. I was like, what?
Yeah, basically they said that there are a couple chemicals in it that they could block the spikes, but it would have to be something more like gummies or something, because once you heat it up, it changes the chemical.
You read that whole article.
Duval.
Hey.
How are you?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Fine. I know it's early for a few. Andy and I are in the same place, so we're on our evening shift. You guys are like 11 a.m. and what time is it called?
No, he should be an hour ahead of me. It's
1 p.m.
1 p.m.
so
you're 12 noon.
Yeah, what's up, Duval? What's up?
Hey, how you doing?
I'm all right.
It's not early. Well, I wake up at 6.
Okay. Yeah. All right.
It's early for somebody who wanted to stay in on a Saturday.
You want to stay in on Saturday?
Yeah.
Noreen.
It snowed here last night, so.
How's Jeff Bezos?
I wouldn't know. He doesn't come by.
Oh, is this a thing that you guys are talking about with that thing you posted about the guy talking about getting 15 something an hour and that TOT, that time on task?
Oh yeah, the guy that was like he was like, don't work at Amazon, it's a waste of your time. And yeah, and I was just basically like, that could have been his experience. It's like, I just have an issue when people's like, I had a bad experience, so therefore everybody had a bad experience. And I'm just like, well, theoretically, if you're at a job to where if there is work to be done and you're not doing anything for 5 minutes, but you're still at your station and you should be working, then yeah, I would be like, okay, it's been 5 minutes. Is there a particular reason why you're not working? Because like, I do kind of understand that. Also, it's a thing of they explain the job to you before you take it, you don't have to take the job.
Hey, that's what I have in my job. Some people complain about things, and it's like, they told you up front how much you had paid for right now. And this guy, he's like upset, and he's like, this is ridiculous. And the other people here is like, first of all, they've been there a couple years. This one guy who's our lead, he's been there for like over 30 years. He's like, this guy, he's like, you're not even trying to work here 6 months, and you complaining like they told you what it was. It's a government job. You gotta take time to get into it. It's not a private company. But he's like, his experience with other jobs has been bad, so he's been complaining about things. He's been complaining to me because I'm the newest person that was put on. So we have 7 people. I'm the last one that was hired for our district, and he's the one right before me. And I learned that he told me he has almost $200,000 in student loan, and he went to this school, it's art school. He went to some art school, and then he never used any of it, and he'd been doing certain jobs, and he doesn't have a vehicle, and he's just been complaining and stuff. So, I understand why. Yeah, he's unhappy. So
he sounds like so much
constantly.
fun.
Yeah, but he can make himself happy. He ain't got to stay. I'm just saying.
Exactly.
Stay.
He's a nice guy. He's nice. He's nice. He's just he likes to do that. It's like, all right. He wants us to stick together and fight them, and we have just like, all right, Christopher,
That's all right.
Yeah.
Let me just say hi to everybody. This is 𝐒𝐩𝐞𝐜𝐚𝐥. It has been a couple of months, and I'm so glad we have all reached 2022 safely. at least a lot of us, like you said, we're still in that COVID bubble. Well, I think we're in the Omicron bubble, or what did I call it? The OmiCoCo bubble, or the Omarion bubble, or
Drew Hill bubble.
The messy bubble.
Oh my God,
you guys are here. Yeah. So glad. I need to introduce everybody real quick, because I know there's a Duval yanked on here. It's like really, I just asked an hour ago. But Duval, he is a New Yorker.
Yes.
Which I am so glad to see. And we have Carl there, who's invisible, and he's in. I'm gonna remember Carl. St. Louis. Did I get it right? He disappeared.
I'm sorry, Carl. I didn't want my turn signal messing up your introduction. Yes, I am in St. Louis. Yeah.
Turn signal? Are you driving? Never mind.
Yeah,
don't tell me. Don't tell me. I want to know.
Oh, you're driving? Oh, well. How are you doing that? And driving?
Exactly. And then we have my girl Noreen, and I have known her since we were like tots, and she's also a New Yorker. And we have Andy. Yeah, and we have Andy. He is a friend of mine here in Sweden, and he's gonna pop on, and I'm gonna hear all about all of his Christmas, since he went to the UK earlier beforehand and didn't bring me no tea back. Ain't gonna talk about you, man.
No crisps. No crisps.
No crisps.
No biscuits.
No. What were you thinking? When you go, I need.
But the rules have changed, so it's all like import licenses for biscuits and import.
Yeah. Trainers.
It's
like trainers.
I was gonna say bring me crumpets, but I missed them so bad. Oh, come on, you can bring it. Oh, that sucks. Anyway, I don't care now.
Not good.
But just all in all, how were you? Christmas, New Year's, how was it going? Were there fireworks? Did you get what you wanted for Christmas? Did you get to spend time with your families? That's the biggest thing.
Yep.
And how did you do it?
I guess I'll go first. So yeah, our family was good. Me and my mother. So our family lives in this big house, and we rent out the 3rd floor. My cousin lives on the basement, and she has like a apartment that she made into the basement. Grandmother, aunt live on the 1st floor. I live in the 2nd, and so we went out the 3rd floor, and there's people up there. And me and my mother are vaccinated, and no one else in our family in this house is. And then they all have COVID, or they had it. And then I had gotten vaccinated. The last one was in July, and I was trying to get the booster, and it was just kind of difficult to, like, you can't just walk in and get it, you gotta like schedule it. And so I had gotten it in December, and that's when they had said they had gotten COVID, and I was like, all right, let me get this booster. So that's when I got the booster, and it was all right. So, but we didn't know that all of this happened right after Christmas, like literally like 2 days after Christmas. So we had people over, and then they all got COVID. So like, they're okay. They just all have COVID, like all of them. So, but I mean, that's pretty much what it's been.
Wow. That's kind of that. See, and that's what I've been hearing a lot of people like going away and thinking it's okay, you know, not like and you didn't even go anywhere. You were like in the house.
Yeah, we're all we had our cousins come over, and they all got it, and no, that's pretty much what it's been. But I mean, they were okay. My older cousin, she got COVID the second time, and she was upset. She was like, "Man, I got COVID again. It's a BS," you know. So, but it's all right. We're all good. Nothing bad has happened.
That's good. That's good. Noreen, how was yours?
Well, you know, the old school people, the parents. Oh, we can't see you. We can't touch you. You'll get the cooties. So I didn't have to worry about having to see them. So since I graduated from school, I said, you know what? I had enough of New York. I have to get out of here. And I was crazy. I got on the New Jersey Transit, y'all, triple masked up. Ooh. First time ever in life. I went to New Jersey and hung out with a high school friend from the 23rd until January 3rd or 5th, I think. And then I went on a plane.
Yeah, I saw that. I was like, what?
Quadruple masked up to Florida. And my friend is like, you know, they're going to think you're weird walking around with this mask. I said, well, act like you don't know me.
Now, first of all,
Florida. And it's, Florida. I went in the belly of the beast.
Yeah.
And I just took my second test, and it's negative again. So I'm good. I did what I had to do to make it.
Now, mind you,
COVID thing is serious.
Yes, because I remember you vividly. I ain't getting no plane. I leave my house. I don't have to leave my house. Everything can come here. Miss Sister got to. Oh, all right. I see. I understand. You grown.
It's still coming now that I'm back and negative.
It's so hard to get a test too. Like just finding it, you can't buy them anywhere because I used to be able to get them at CVS and Walgreens and all that type of stuff.
You can't get them anymore.
Stand in line. They're all sold out.
Same here.
You gotta.
I got this one at iHealth. Not a plug for them, but I got this one through iHealth online. iHealth.com, and it was like 2 for $11.
Oh wow, that's not bad. I saw one for $35.
It's a shame these things aren't free. I mean, really.
Yeah. I know, right? It should be. That's what I was saying.
Yeah.
You know.
Andy,
well, the government claims soon they're getting ready to give them away for free.
After 1 billion of them were already bought, of course.
Right. Now that they realize people are playing games with them, right? So some are 35, some are 23, some are higher. They're even charging for testing now.
Oh, it's crazy.
$75, $100. I'm like, what? Really? I'll buy my own.
Wow.
Jesus. It's counterproductive as well. You think that they're so worried about the economy, they want everyone to be well and working. So it's in their own benefit to get everyone to test as often as they want. So it's a bit of a shame that it's.
I think that's why they reduced the days from 14, 10 to 5, because they said that they did that because a lot of the airlines and stuff were getting a lot of flack because all their pilots and stuff can't fly the planes because they all have COVID. And so they needed really high essential workers need to work. So the CDC changed it. That's what they said was the motivating factor for reducing the days, because 14 days is too long and people were out.
We're reducing it. And I know in England as well, they reduced the days gradually. It was 10 days, then it went down to 8, then it's gone down to 7. Now they just keep making it shorter and shorter.
Yeah.
Because it's like, you know, all of our staff aren't here, and it's the economy first, not health first. So, you know, and it's a tough one. I mean,
it's
I don't know.
really rough.
It wouldn't be tough if they mandated masks, because then you go, well, it doesn't matter. You can come in, you can wear a mask. You're not really going to be spreading it around. But if they can't mandate that, then it's kind of a bit of a free for all.
But have they done that in the States at all? Have they mandated?
So that's what people, so certain states will, so like certain states will not have it and certain states will. And the local governments can't. So this is what happens. They'll say this local city, right? They're going to do a local mandate. You have to wear a mask. Then the people in the town will say, well, the president says it's not federal, so I got to do it. And so the local government is saying, we need the state level and the federal to mandate it, and they won't. And so all these people are like, well, Biden ain't said I got to do it, so I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
So then that's how that's been going.
Well, and actually on that front, the Supreme Court, I believe, just shut down his mandate. And even in that, it wasn't even like mandated for the vaccine. It was kind of like, hold on.
Yeah,
so he's still in the call.
Sorry, grab it up for Daniel. But yeah, if they pretty much kind of shut that down, and as Ball pointed out, some people are just kind of fighting the basic of, you know, just wearing a mask in general. They don't want to wear a mask. They also don't want to be forced to get a vaccine, but then again, they want to complain about not being able to do things without a vaccine. It's like there was a story recently about some workers at I don't know if how many people are familiar with the Ronald McDonald House. It's for kids who are, you know, very ill and whatnot. So what?
Is it McDonald's? Ronald McDonald?
It's part of Ronald McDonald.
Yeah, it's for sick kids, and they have a place for the parents to be there, whether with their kids. Well, the company had a thing to where they're just like, and it's crazy that it took this on to do it, but they're like, if you're a healthcare worker there, you must be vaccinated in order to stay there. And it's not even like they're saying, well, we're going to fire you. They're just saying, well, if you're not vaccinated, which if you're around a bunch of kids who are immunocompromised anyway, you would think that you would want to do that. But they're saying, well, you can't stay in this particular section, and we're going to find some place else to have you. Like, you too. And they're complaining about that. And it's like, well, and it's not like you're going to get fired. You're just not going to be around the sick kids who you can, you know, give COVID to. And it's
you're right. I've seen videos of nurses and stuff on TikTok or something. They'll be like, the government is firing me. They won't let me live in freedom and peace. And then they'll show like a video of them saying, you know, well, we're not firing you. You need to get vaccinated to work. You're a nurse, fam. Like, you're a nurse. Yeah. Like, you're in the midst of people. So, like, you need to get vaccinated. Like, well, it's my right. And so, like, that's just the thing that's been going on.
It's the thing that I talked to somebody earlier this week about, to where people are conflating the freedom, well, their freedom of choice, their freedom of speech with they want freedom of consequence is what they're really saying. They want to be able to, they're like, I don't want to get the vaccine. Okay, fine. Nobody's making you get the vaccine. However, you know, just as you have the freedom to say that, we as a business, we as a company, you know, we have to protect other people. You're not the only person who we have to look out for. So if you don't want to get it, that's fine. But there are consequences to you not wanting to wear a mask. You know, people don't want to, you know, they're saying even somehow wearing a mask is tyranny and all this other crap. But
sorry. I see so much of that stuff. It's like,
6 of one, half of the dozen.
Right. And
live with a chair or die.
Right. And they keep, and it's funny, it's always the people who cry about identity politics and and things not being as bad as, minorities make it out to be, trying to tie this to stuff that was arguably some of the most horrible things we can think of in history. They keep tying it to Jews getting gassed in World War II. I saw some politician tied to that, or they want to tie it to slavery. Whatever they can, whatever buzzword they can tie it to make the people who aren't invested enough to do some critical thinking. Even I wouldn't say critical thinking, just thinking, because it's not like you have to think hard to be like, these two things aren't the same.
Exactly. I mean, because even like when I worked in the States, and I worked in healthcare, and to get the job, to be in a position, I had to get a ton of things, shots and everything else, and I had to make sure I had them every year. So like a TB test, I had to have it every year, like clockwork. If I didn't have it in time, I had to not work until I got it. I had to get a Hep B shot. there were tons of shots I had to get in order to work. This was the job. That's what you had to do to have the job. These are the things you had to do to keep everybody safe. Exactly. To go to school, you had, and people,
public school. You gotta go.
A big thing for me. People are like, I'm not taking this shot and blah, 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 blah. And I said, yeah, but you took vaccinations with you. Those are just my shots. Excuse me.
It's the same thing.
They were the same thing.
And that's the ridiculousness of it all, is the argument that people are trying to put on something. We go, well, wait a minute, you didn't complain about this before. This is exactly the same. Nope. It's even worse for me is the people in healthcare who you think they take that job because they want to look after the health of the patients. That's why you think they do it, because they really care about the people they're looking after. But for them to say, well, I care about them, but I care more about myself, then it makes go, well, maybe you shouldn't be working in the industry anyway.
Exactly.
Because if you're prepared to let them become sick because you need to have your choice here, then you shouldn't be in this industry. It's like, clearly this wasn't the field for you.
Hippocratic oath.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's perfectly stated.
They are not thinking about that. They're just thinking about their purse. And I understand that idea, but we are in a health crisis. This is detrimental to everyone around you, including you, and you work in a hospital, and you're not taking the safety precautions to be there, then you can't be there.
Right.
Yeah.
You can't be there.
The ones that get me are the people saying, I don't want to get it because, as Duvall was picking at me, because I don't want I don't want Bill Gates or Jeff Bezos to put a tracker in me.
Yeah, George Soros. It's all
right.
It's all a whole. It's a
whole.
whole.
While they're making a video.
That's not even an argument, surely.
I'd be like, ain't nobody want to follow you.
Instagram or TikTok.
Yeah, exactly. If you have a phone, if you have a card,
thank you.
It doesn't even make an argument. You can't even use it.
Exactly.
It's like, that doesn't make sense. And this is what I don't get.
People be saying, 5G created COVID, and they be on TikTok. It's like, you got an iPhone. What are you talking about? You got an iPhone 13 Pro.
And you on TikTok making your content every other hour.
Yeah, like TikTok.
Believe me,
TikTok is made by South Korea. It's the most, they are the most invasive app out of all apps. It's TikTok. They have all your data already, and they're on TikTok making a TikTok. The 5G is like, you're on TikTok. What you're and you're being real smooth with it too, because you're on that all the time, loading up your videos and all this other stuff. And then you're gonna whine about a shot, and I have a few friends who, that have talked to me, and a few of them are just scared.
Yeah.
And I understand scared. They're not trying to go for some big hoax and all this. They're just scared,
They're scared.
Yeah, because so many other things have happened, even though they're not, no one's sure that, when within the first vaccine, the second vaccine, and the boost of all these people who have died, that was the cause of it. But it's nerve-wracking. And I said, but you have to think about it fundamentally. And even in number wise, I said, you're talking about a very, I mean, minus 1% of some of a population of people. And it might not have even been because of the vaccine. And I said, but but the majority of the people, there are no real consequences. And then you have people like, yeah, but people are getting COVID anyway. I said, yes, but it is not at a vicious rate as they were before. And the people that are getting it now, even more so because of them, all these variants, aren't dying. They're not in the hospital. They're not having to be on respirators and everything else. They're getting what seemingly is some kind of a cold or some kind of little symptoms. Whereas a lot of people who are unvaccinated are getting real sick, even with Omicron. So, and they're like, oh, well, I boosted, I'm getting anyway. I said, yes, you have a light dose of it. Would you have wanted to not take anything and maybe have gotten it worse?
Also, nobody ever said, at least I don't remember anybody ever saying that the vaccine would make sure that you 100% don't get COVID. I do not remember that.
They never.
No,
They can never say
anywhere.
It's 99.9. They always leave a one.
Right. It's like you can't, condoms don't even have a 100% success rate, but people act like, oh, well, people, like I saw, and it kills me when people try to have these gotcha moments, or they act like they're real deep by having these, sorry, let me turn this down. They have these real, supposedly deep arguments. They're like, what do you call somebody who has who had the vaccine and still dies? And they try to act like that was real deep. And you had some people, ooh, yeah. And it's just like, as somebody said, an unfortunate statistic. And because it's just like, no, it's like there are so many more people. Right. There are so many more people who have died who didn't have the vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
So many more people.
Yeah.
Yet a few, any loss of life is unfortunate. However, the number of people who have gotten the vaccine and still die from COVID is so small in comparison. It's just like, so I'm not sure what your argument is.
It's like if a person dies from a car accident, so therefore no one should drive cars. It's like that kind of thing.
Yeah, but
this person died, so they shouldn't get vaccinated.
Yeah,
it's like this.
These fallacies, unfortunately, they've got a real echo chamber there. One person says something stupid, ridiculous, and it gets magnified into fact. And it's just bizarre that people take up these battles or say, like, I'm scared of it. I understand being concerned, but it's funny they're not concerned when they get a takeaway late at night. It doesn't even bat their eyelid that maybe this chicken isn't cooked, maybe it's raw, maybe this is. They never question what they put into their body normally at all. Right. And yet this is suddenly like, well, now I question that one. It's like, well, the arguments aren't, it's like you really have to rethink your argument, the logic of your argument. And people aren't saying, well, wait a minute, do you question everything you eat every single time? Do you question what pesticides your fruit?
No, they don't. No, they don't. They go to the club raw, going into a girl, going into someone, and they're talking about, boy, if you don't get out of here with that. That's how they are.
If you eat Taco Bell, I don't want to hear you say anything about being concerned about taking the vaccine. It's like if you ever eaten a Twinkie, as you said, there's so many things that they don't use that same rationale for why they don't want. It's like, we don't know what's in it. It's just like, if I sat here and told you what's in it, you still wouldn't know what's in it.
Exactly.
It's like, do you know everything that's in every medicine that you take?
Right.
Exactly.
Too free. That's the problem. Too free.
Yeah.
There are countries where they don't have a choice.
Yeah.
Hey, Mo.
Truly.
Hey, Mo.
How you doing?
Hi, I'm doing all right. Sorry I'm late.
Hey.
I was in the bed I thought when we said 7 o'clock, I was thinking 7 o'clock my time. Girl, no ma'am. That would be like. So you feel me?
I got 5 more hours, girl. I'm asleep.
Yeah, I pulled this dress over my head and took my bonnet off and hopped on some earrings and was like, ooh, we're going to make it work. Make it work.
You've been here before.
It's going to be all right. It's all right. It's all right. I'm here.
I'm glad you're here. Nah, but I mean, a lot of that is just like, like you say, the people who fear, there's so many other things that could possibly be fearing, and they're not even questioning it. And we were talking even about I actually discovered this a few years ago with a lot of people like getting on planes. They're like, oh, they're cleaning the planes better. I was like, okay. I said, but y'all know, those blankets, they
The
weren't
subway
getting clean. And they were
in
like,
Manhattan.
I heard that they
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 never clean
cleaned them.
They never clean. This is something people don't know. They don't clean the subway.
Never. I heard that, and I was like,
they don't
clean them
in Manhattan. The 5, 6, the 1, 2, the 3 Q. They don't clean the subway, and it's only until COVID where they mandated that you have to clean them like I think once a day or twice a day, and they eat like, late at night. But before that, they never clean the subway. No. That's why when you go in there, you just every time I don't go on the subway anymore. But I used to use it. You gotta sit there like this. I remember I was going to the subway. You see like used condoms on the subway. You see people's feet piss, and you just see stuff on the subway. Yeah. So but people will say, oh, that's normal. But
that's the only good thing I hope that does change because of this whole thing is that
clean the subway in Manhattan. Yeah.
Not just a clean subway, but I do hope they maintain it. But just that people wash their hands, particularly men, but that actually people start washing their hands when they're using public transport or just in general. So we might just limit these colds. But I think I have to say, men have not been the best at washing their hands. And now when I'm in a public toilet, there's a queue of men waiting to wash their hands on the way out. And I'm like, oh yeah, that's more like it. That's more like it.
I had a woman because of the fact of how I work, I always wash my hands in between clients because it was just like, it's gross not to. But with COVID, of course, I'm a little, it's like, okay, more soap this time. And I'm standing there and I wash them the same way because of just it's how my mom taught me how to wash my hands because she was a nurse. And I had this woman looking at me one day, watching me washing my hands. And she was like, do you do that all the time? I was like, yes, I do. Mind you, she's standing at the next sink and I'm watching her not use soap under the water. And I'm thinking to myself, yes, you nasty woman, I use soap.
They'll ask you that too. She's like, wait, you wash your hands?
Do you wash your hands like that all the time? That must take so long. I was like, I want them clean. I'm going to take my time. I'm going to wash my hands for the next client that has to come in there and I got to be rubbing on them. Yes, I'm going to be clean, And I was like, but you standing next to me, you ain't even using soap. You nasty
Crazy how that's the point of contention. She has an issue with you washing your hands.
Yeah, she was like just standing there looking at me because I was just like, I have a process. It takes, maybe it always took about 15, 20 seconds, or more, depending, and I rinse, I dry, and I grab the handle with the tissue and I walk out because I figured, why am I going to touch the handle again? Because that just defeats the purpose. I dry my hands, I take the towel, I open the door, and then, throw the towel away outside. She watched me wash my hands while she stood there washing her hands with no soap. So you just rinsing them.
She did better than one of my bosses. We watched her walk out the bathroom, didn't touch the water or the soap, just walk. I said, oh.
I keep track of those people. Whenever I see somebody walk out the bathroom, I'll be like, whatever you touched, I'm making sure I'm keeping you in my line of sight, so I know not to touch wherever it is that you touched.
When I worked at Starbucks, my manager, this is a few years, this is like 2016, I was working at Starbucks, and this guy came so we're working in the bar, which is like where you make drinks, and so I'm working at the bar with someone else, and then this guy comes in, and he looks like he's homeless, and then he goes into the bathroom, and he's in there for a bit, I guess, and then he comes out, and he has like, okay, it's not funny, but he had like feces on his pants, his coat or something in his pants, walking outside, like he's walking outside the store. Mm-hmm. And I didn't notice it. Someone else told me, my friend Mark, he's like, hey, we got shit on his pants. And I was like, what? And so I looked and I saw it, and then he goes outside the store. And so Mark tells our manager, Antonio, he's like, hey, just look at the bathroom. The guy probably messed up the bathroom. So Antonio, he's on the bar, he goes in the bathroom, cleans the bathroom, comes out, goes right back on the bar, doesn't wash his hands.
Oh no!
I didn't notice that because the girl who I was working with, Jordan, she's like a the cleanest person. She has hand sanitizer. She's very like, she's overly clean to the point where she's like, every interaction she uses hand sanitizer. She noticed it, and she's like, Antonio did not wash his hands. I'm dying. That's what she told me. And then I remember that, and he left. He got removed.
Yeah.
When I was working there. But yeah, you know, that was like before COVID. But I wonder how he's doing.
That is nice.
Not
Still
washing his
dirty.
hands right. Still a little dirty.
Right.
That's so disgusting. Like, he had no shame. It was mad people in the store. So it's like, if he would have had some shame, he'd be like, let me at least wash my hands. Like, let me at least show that I washed my hands. He just didn't even care. It was gross.
It's quite bizarre. It's quite funny. The fact that
Or at least if he said like, oh, go ahead.
no, you were saying, Carl.
Oh no, I was saying like, or at least been like, yeah, oh no, I washed my hands before I left the bathroom, or like, you know, I cleaned up in there, I washed my hands in there, and then I left.
Oh, we know he did.
But you just
he had
come
the
out
door
like,
open. He had the door open. We didn't hear no water. Oh, because our water was loud. That faucet in there is loud.
no, he's just striking.
He's just this like, dang.
I don't get what I don't get is the brain gymnastics of knowing the bathroom needs to be clean because people like it needs to be clean and it's healthy to be clean, but not getting the gymnastics of, well, now I should be clean because my own cleanliness is as important as the bathroom. I don't quite get how you can get a disconnect mentally with like needs to be clean and I don't need to. It's like, you know, cleaning the bathroom, never taking a shower. It doesn't make sense. It's like,
you ever see that thing on Twitter? I think Kev posted something about this, where there was this thing, people say they go in the shower and wash their legs. You see that? You remember that?
Oh, and they wondering if they wash your legs or not. Yeah.
Yeah,
I remember that.
This tweet. This is a couple of years ago, I think.
Yeah.
There was like a group of people who were saying they go in the bathroom or they go in the shower and then they just don't wash. They don't scrub their leg. Like they just stand in the shower.
It's like, the soap just runs down their leg, but they don't actually actively wash their legs. Yeah. It's just the soap will hit it. You know? Yeah.
I
think what's gonna people. And I was just gonna say one more thing is I think people are gonna just be more cleanly, be more clean. Hopefully, I think this is gonna make people be more clean after this.
I thought so.
Look at Mo. She's like,
people go back to their old ways.
They don't even put a mask on their face. You think they're gonna wash their hands? Like, no.
Because even here, we have recommendations. Nothing can be like mandated. They can't like force anybody, but they feel that, well, Sweden, they understand that they have to do this. Yeah, bull donkey. Anyway. And the last thing that they did say was that people need to wear their mask in all the crowded places and on the train and on transportation, blah, blah, blah. Okay, fine. Now I get, I'm on the bus. No, I get on the train. I get down to the train station. Mask goes on. I'm down in there. Now, mind you, I see less people than normal because I guess people now working from home. But I said I could still count on one hand in this huge train car how many people had a mask, and I saw 2. And there weren't that many more. And people don't, they're not so concerned. Even older people, like elderly, who I would think would be like masking up.
Yeah.
They just wandering around like, I'm old, I'm strong. Okay. Be old, be strong.
I saw that today as well. But I'm just personally, I find it very weak for the people who say, I won't wear a mask. I find it as a sign of such weakness that I go, really? It's such a simple thing. I find it it's such a sad characteristic if you find that as a challenge. I feel like that's very weak. I mean, I don't know how people look at each other or look at those people who refuse to do the very smallest of things and see themselves as being some sort of hero, someone who's standing up or has the strength, when really it's a real act of weakness, or such utter weakness. It's like, okay, it's like, I don't know. I don't quite get the gymnastics of the restriction a piece of cloth does. I'm like, oh, it's uncomfortable. I can't breathe. And it seems so weak. Like, really? How do we survive in the wild?
It's people that were, like people that were used to something, and then you're telling them to do something. It could have been it's like save money or It's like there's gonna always be people who are like, I'm used to this thing. I don't want to do the thing. If you make me do the thing, it's Hitler tyranny. You're taking my rights. You're killing us. That's the level of people reach at. Like people, anytime you tell them to make them do something, so and then you have all these other people pumping them with information on social media. Well, they're making money off. The funny thing is, some of the people that are saying all this stuff are all vaccinated. Like there's these people who are browbeating and saying the government, they're vaccinated. All their media people on their staff is vaccinated. They get tested, all this stuff, but they're telling you all this stuff because they're just making money off the content. It's just content to them. So.
Okay, we're gonna close off all this COVID stuff because there's one thing that I actually want to talk about when one of you mentioned condoms. I know. It was weird because
are you talking about Drake?
Yes.
Oh my God!
Situation where he was with some chick and they did their thing and he took the condom, threw it away, and she went and got it, and he had put hot sauce in there to kill his people.
Someone got a TV on.
Those girls.
Good job,
my son. Sorry.
Those girls.
Good job.
If those girls want to get on, they know what they got to do. And Drake, I guess, doesn't want to deal with that.
And
I just never heard of
that. That's the creepy part, that he had to do that, and then she gets mad because
she got mad and then that's
the got all screwed up, and I'm like, you're an idiot. You are.
Why would you post that?
You deserved it.
Just take your L. Bit of it. Silence. Yeah. Take that. You just got to take one for the team right there.
When my daughter was telling me about the story, and the only thing I could think of was the girl and her lack of shame. That was all I could think of.
I would never.
How, no matter what you attempted to do, how bad as it was, the fact you were unashamed.
I did not. I thought that was the creepiest thing ever. And if, like you said, the fact that she went up and said something about it.
Yeah.
I was like,
you got no shame.
Right.
She wasn't the brightest crayon in the box to begin with. Because how you don't smell hot sauce? How you don't smell the hot sauce?
You don't see it because hot sauce is red.
The color of the hot. How you don't? She got exactly what she deserved because she should have been in somebody's schoolhouse instead of laying up with somebody's man. She should have been.
She was thinking about that Birkin she was about to buy with his money.
No,
get this Birkin.
Oh my God!
Hot sauce has a very distinct smell. You smell the hot sauce. When you went to,
I understand. I think I get why. I understand how she felt because certain people, if you're a stripper or if you're
she was an IG model.
Well,
that's what she was.
Fly them out to Dubai. Those girls get flown out, and you ever heard the stories?
But
they get flown out to Dubai and they get paid by what are those guys? The people who own all the oil over there, and they pay them like $500,000 to do defecating on them and all that type of stuff. And that's what they do over there. So Drake is an opportunity for her lifestyle to improve, because if she get pregnant by him, she's gonna do well. So it's like you have to put your mind in her mind. It's like, oh, I'm about to get on right now. I just got to do this thing. She's not thinking about that. So, but for her to be frustrated with to post it, I would have just been so ashamed. If I would have just, I would have been angry. I would have been like, oh, but you know,
right.
That's her one opportunity. She had her one opportunity and she failed.
Right. I tried to get myself pregnant by somebody who clearly did not want to get me pregnant. I tried to sneak some of his sperm, and he prevented me from doing so. Can you believe this? And that's the audacity and the stupidity. Yeah. The unmitigated gall to be like, let me tell you what this food did to me. Okay. So this what happened.
Exactly.
We did our thing, and he gonna throw the condom away. I was like, "Oh, you think you sick? I'm gonna get that condom. I'm gonna get that condom. I go get the condom. I had my eyes closed because you know I normally do everything with my eyes closed. So I did the eyes closed. I smelled something a little funny, but he had been drinking some Hennessy, and I just thought that's what that was because you know they be doing that stuff. And so I smelled something funny, and I just put it up in there, and it started burning. And I was like, "This man done gave me something."
He probably learned. Drake probably learned that from Future. Future probably been doing that. So, but Future fumbled. I think Future has like 9 women that he has to pay. Future is providing the future. Future is providing the future of the United States for as many kids as he's probably pumping out. But no, forget her being trifling. Forget her all that other stuff. Forget her not having any shame. Where was he keeping the hot sauce? Where was he keep? Where did he have it out? Did he just? Does he have? Is it like a? Does he have like a utility belt like Batman? He's just able to fit everything in. Did he just whip it out? It's like forget her. Not. She has I fear for this young lady because she has no situational awareness. She didn't realize he had a bottle of Tabasco, so she didn't realize he had a bottle of hot sauce. She didn't see the color. She didn't smell it. Somebody hold this right. Somebody needs to hold this girl hand while she crosses the street because I don't think she's gonna make it. I don't know how old she is.
This was the standard.
Right. Like this is the basics. These are the basics, and she is failing on every level.
Yeah.
And Darwin, we need to give. I know it's 2022 just started, but she is already in competition to win the Darwin Awards for this year because she is failing. She is every creature that had to fight and evolve and survive on this planet is disappointed at her to be like, how did you not? It's like
you're gonna learn better. Get them next time.
She's the reason why they have those obvious signs on something. Be like, please put your hand on the rail so you don't fall over. And you read it, and it'd be like, who's stupid enough not to do it? She's that person.
She wasn't. I don't think she's that cracked, but this particular idea.
Oh, really?
I don't know. I said I don't know. But
I think she was trying to. She had one opportunity.
She had just did not.
She had one opportunity. This is her one shot.
That was her. But the thing about, I think
she missed her chance to blow.
Talk about it. Yeah, I would have taken that to the grave.
I would have told not a soul. I would have never told nobody.
There's some things you just keep to yourself.
Yes.
Never. Even my best friend in the whole wide world would have never known. This is one of those things would have been between me and my Lord.
Exactly.
And then I know my ancestors would have been looking down like, little girl.
Lord looking down like.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly. But it also shows the caliber of partner he chooses.
Right.
That's what I think. That is a pretty low standard caliber of partner you choose to lay down with. I mean, what were you looking for? What were you looking for? I mean, was it purely just a body and a face, and because that's
basically. Yeah, this was not a miss right. It was miss right now. He was not. He was just looking for somebody who was down, and that was it. And it's.
And she wanted to cash in.
I don't think Drake has that ability to want to desire marriage. Like I don't think certain people at that level they have access to everything. Like he could do anything, and it's like I don't think that he would. I don't know. I think I'm very pessimistic to Drake.
Run through like the whole catalog. Like, hey, you been with her?
Every single person.
The proper channel. To filter out like, oh no, this one she trifling. She tried to do this to me. Yes.
That's what he's got agents for. He's got agents and
like
you look after them, look after their property, look after their artists, and they wouldn't allow them to be compromised or shouldn't allow them to be compromised. And by now, you'd think he'd be able to pick out a high caliber. Those ones shouldn't even get through the fences. They shouldn't even get close to.
That's what makes me look kind of shameful. Like,
get through the fences.
I mean, That should have been, that's, red flag warning from a mile away.
V here saying that, so she thought she'd sue him and burn damage to her box. I was like,
and it does say a lot about that need for, it's all about the money. I mean, it's all about money. Everything was about money there. There was nothing to do with, and also on his side, there wasn't anything personal, nothing humanity about it. This was about sex and it was about money. Two purely things. All they were after, sex and money. And that was why she liked him, was because of money, and he just wanted her for sex. It's so basic. It's so inhumane.
Oldest thing in the world.
Yeah, the oldest thing, and still, the hardest people are still acting in such basic ways that you go, what's happened?
So I don't think he can. I don't think he can love somebody. That's why I think.
Yeah, he'd be all right.
I'm not going to make that. I don't know anything about the dude, so I'm not going to make that bold attempt because it's easy for us to make assumptions from the outside looking in when most of the time when we see these celebrities, we're mostly catching them at the worst point of their lives. We're mostly catching them either when they do something crazy or whatever, or if they happen to do something charitable or say something stupid or whatever. We're not with those people day to day, and we also aren't in their positions to where, like, because just think about that. The fact that he knows that just to do something basic that normal people would do, just hook up with somebody and just go on about your day, to where he doesn't have that opportunity just to do that. He has to go to the extreme of, okay, I have to, as extreme and weird as it is, I have to do this thing so that this person doesn't try to hit me up with a baby. What he has to be, that's some like 3D type chess he has to be thinking in order just to do.
Over cynical. He has to be overly cynical. His everyday life, he has access to everything at any time, and he has to be overly cynical. So it's very difficult for someone at that level to succumb and be able to submit to one person, because they're used to their desire of having access to everything. I'm not saying you can't ever love. It's just going to be way more difficult for someone like him to
or maybe do that. Or maybe it's not even that it's difficult. It's finding somebody who can actually deal with that lifestyle. Because it's finding somebody, number one, that actually has a genuine connection with you. That you can actually open up to, and have a relationship with, and who
they have to know he's not Drake.
Can look through all. Right, and that's the thing. Yeah, it's all those cheesy movies to where the plain Jane, because there's always somebody attractive, which but is the regular person falls, gets in with the prince or whatever, famous person, and they're able to love them. Yeah, but it is one of those things to where the only way he could find somebody is probably with another celebrity, because like I said, it's difficult to find a regular person who he can actually be with and do all the other stuff with, and as you said, he has a lot more people throwing themselves at him, not because they think he's attractive, because they see a payday. And so that is one of those things of being famous that you don't think about, to where, and it's just like there are people who are famous, like I could just probably imagine like people who may be like action stars, or maybe like do combat sports, and there's already somebody wanting to test them or do something, and it's a thing to where if you get into a confrontation with somebody's just waiting for you to mess up so they can sue you and ruin your life and whatever, and that type of stuff is it's nerve-wracking. I can just imagine it being so.
That's what the people are for.
Yeah, the people love it, but it's gonna probably be terrible. But I feel like every man should be protective with his seed. When you give your woman your seed, you're giving her responsibility. Like that. You want to have a say, but sir, you have a say before you do what you do. That is your say. And if you don't want that situation to happen, be responsible with your seed, because once you give your seed to a woman, she is free to do with it as she pleases. She could bring a baby into the world and you not want to have a child with that person. So I just be real. I have my 2 boys, they're super young, but I always think about that girl. You're gonna have to tell that boys, be responsible with your seed. Don't go giving it to everybody because you don't want to deal with that person.
Listen, we we're saying this, but you know something? I bet you he's not the only one. She was just the first fool to come up and talk about it. And I'm glad. I'm so glad he had that miniature pepper sauce out that hotel room. All of y'all welcome to pepper sauce.
Because if he hadn't,
like, I should make a thing that we should bottle this.
All they need is a child. All you need is some Louisiana up in there. You ain't got to be picky. Some cayenne, some Louisiana, any kind of hot sauce.
What if that happens? What if he makes a hot sauce with his
drink away?
Drink hot sauce.
Drink away. Yeah. Drink away.
I think it's the thing.
Have that meme to where what was that the telephone having like and just have the picture like that. I think somebody. Hold on.
That's a good idea.
He need to go ahead.
Men get caught out here a lot. Men get caught out here a lot. Let's do it. We can make some bottles, small bottles. One shot pills. Like the day after pill, the day of pill.
Oh, wow. Is that real? Or is that a Photoshop?
No, this is somebody Photoshop. But yeah, he needs, that's a brand deal. He's leaving money on the table.
Yes.
Wait, let me see again. That's hot. I like that. See, that's what I'm talking about right there. Come on, Drake. I'm down. Let's plan.
The internet is undefeated. That is three latex condoms with spicy lube. It's like that.
Y'all, you know what? I'm sorry, y'all. Look at
the outside.
Y'all need to look at these comments. You got V is like Scotch bonnets all around. She got lemon.
Comments?
Scotch bonnets, some lemon juice.
Some jerk flavor.
Jerk's the right word.
Right.
You don't have no pepper, lemon juice or two. Scotch bonnets all around. Look, ooh, that's a hot one though. I've been bonnet. I'd have no taste on my side of my face for like 2 days.
Well, no, that's money on the table. He needs to get with Trojan or whoever, KY Jelly, somebody to some spermicide to have that and just have the commercial being like, man, what's wrong? Jessica says she's pregnant. Boy, you crazy. You should have used Drake brand condoms and got that thing out here.
Yeah. Supreme Nike collab.
It is awful.
Okay. Now that we back to food again.
Food from that?
Well, hot sauce, Oh, look at this. They come cinnamon and ginger. Christmas edition. Oh Lord.
Christmas edition
with cinnamon and ginger.
Do they have a peppermint one?
Well, okay, I don't know. But you can put
they
it
probably
in there,
do.
bro.
Yeah.
But what I do want to know is, like, Andy and I live here in Sweden, and the traditions here in Sweden when it comes to holiday food, most of the holiday food here is the same every holiday. And we know that when we home, there's a whole different ball of wax. Like when he's back home in the UK or when I'm back home in the US, the mac and cheese, the this, the that, is just all around. So tell me, what were your favorites this holiday season when it came to food? And who made the potato salad?
My aunt makes the potato salad, and she uses a recipe my grandfather used to make, and it's the best. And I don't like potato salad, but I like her potato salad. I don't usually go for it because it's usually never consistent. It's always someone done put raisins or whatever in it, so I don't usually go for potato salad. So but she does it a certain way, so I'll eat hers. We had mac and cheese, baked. That's the only thing that exists. So what else? She made curry goat. I don't know if y'all had that. That's fire. And oxtail. We don't do turkey on. Oh, this is talking about Thanksgiving or Christmas. You said Thanksgiving.
Christmas and New Year. But that's all right because we have the same things all around.
Oh yeah, she don't really do turkey. My aunt does Thanksgiving, so we go with her. she don't do turkey anymore because no one. She tired saying, "Oh y'all, buy turkey. Now I eat the turkey there." So she don't. She's like, "All right, she ain't gonna put no more turkey." So, yeah, that's it. The sides. The sides are more important.
That's what I'm saying. The sides are the thing that really just kind of hit the meal. We used to the ham and the this and the that. I remember like a few times with Christmas dinners in the States, and someone made lasagna. I was like, wow. Yeah, they had lasagna, macaroni and cheese. They had spare ribs. Everybody just went off on a couple of Christmases, and I was like, it's just expanding. But that's cool.
I do a lasagna on a Christmas.
Okay.
I like that. Yeah.
Monique, did you cook?
Oh, I do desserts. So this year I did peach cobbler, and I did like 3 or 4 cakes.
Yeah.
I just do desserts.
Guys,
I'm
you can mute it because I can't hear you.
I can't hear. Can we mute? Can we mute Carl?
Yeah.
Well, while he's not there.
I'm sorry.
Yeah.
But
Sorry,
oh, this is horrible. I'm so sorry, Granny. I don't cook like that. I bake. I'll bake you a peach cobbler, or I'll bake you a pie, or cookies, or a cake. You want me to fry chicken? I cannot do such a thing. I cannot do such a thing.
I cannot do.
I like the barbecue.
I miss peach cobbler. I have not had it in a long time, and I was just thinking about it a few weeks ago, and I was like, but I can't make it now.
I never had peach cobbler.
No me.
Never had peach cobbler. Here we go. Here's the black people. The blacks are gonna come at me now.
I'm just give me a card. Give me a black card.
Peach cobbler.
I never had peach cobbler. I had pecan pie, sweet potato. That's pretty much what matters. It's sweet potato pie.
You in Queens?
No.
Oh,
I'm in Mount Vernon.
Okay, because I was sure gonna run something over there.
Thank you.
Noreen will do it too.
Peach cobbler. No, I never had it. It's funny. I've seen it in the stores. Never wanted to try it. I wouldn't say I wouldn't eat it. I just never saw it. I never had it, so I don't know how it would taste.
I haven't had it from the store.
Is it sweet? Is this a sweet?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Usually have it warm with like vanilla ice cream on top.
Yes.
It's like a crumbly. How would you describe cobbler? It's not really like a.
It's like a pie crust on the top. Like for me, I do a cobbler. I have a crust at the bottom, or some people don't do a crust at the bottom, but I prefer lots of crust on the bottom, and then like the filling, and then a crust on the top.
Mm-hmm.
It's like a pie. It's basically
it is. It's pretty much like a pie, except the crust is thicker.
Yes,
the crust is thicker on the bottom and on the top. So that's I remember going to Rib Shack and getting it from there. I've not had it in a long time.
Yeah, because even if like, in my experience, Black people are not a monolith, but even if you don't like peaches, people still eat the peach cobbler. You know what I mean?
Peaches
They'll just
pick
around the peaches. They still are going to get some peach cobbler. And it's just amazing to me that y'all have not had such a thing. Nope. Black people are not a monolith. Okay.
I like peaches, so nectarines and peaches.
Yeah, likewise.
Let's see. Yeah, that peach cobbler. I haven't had it in a long time. I like pumpkin pie. You can say what you want. I don't care.
Hey, what's up? Let's come at me. I like it too. I'm ready for war.
I mean, I love me some sweet potato too, but
sweet potato is highly better.
Yeah,
it's highly better. But if there's no pie, I'll have a pumpkin pie.
I will make a pumpkin pie and sweet potato. I usually make like Thanksgiving is when I make a Thanksgiving meal, and I haven't made. I think I made our Thanksgiving meal for Christmas because I had that turkey in my freezer for 2 years and no people. So I'm like, this turkey's getting made.
I'll be right back.
I said, this turkey's getting made. I don't care. But there's a lot of stuff that I missed. I had oxtails just like a week or so ago. And they just kind of lasted till the end of till now. And I have some lamb in the freezer. Thank you, Lola. Some lamb in the freezer. So those I'm get to those. But I miss. I do. I really genuinely miss those traditional stuff that we just have when we were in the States. You know, that just don't cross over here unless you make it yourself. And you know, then even with bread, like I make challah bread a lot. To use Jewish bread, and they don't have that really here. They have different types of bread. They have tons of bread. They have 1,000 billion trillion cheeses. If you love cheese, yeah, come. You eat all kinds of cheese. But when it comes to certain breads, I'm like, no, back. And that reminds me of when I made what kind of bread? Sweet bread?
Yeah.
The first time me and Andy met up, he goes, yeah, I miss sweet bread. And I didn't know what sweet bread was, Noreen. No, and I got the recipe, and then he goes, yeah, and I'm making it. I'm like, is this really how you make sweet? Is it supposed to be? Okay. Yeah. And he was happy, and I was happy. He's still alive, as you can see right here.
I didn't know I was in it.
Ate the whole thing. He was happy. I was happy. I was like, ooh. You know. But there's so many things that I really miss from traditional meals and stuff like that.
I just made Instant Pot, and I forgot I left it on, and it automatically turns off, but it's been slow. Have you ever used Instant Pot before? So like you put it in for like 10 minutes, right? And then it'll steam cook whatever you have in there, and then after the time is done, it will stay on by just keeping the food warm, and it was on there for like 48 minutes. You know,
keeping it warm.
yeah, it's keeping it warm. So, and I still have. You could probably hear. I still have my AirPods, and I was like, "Oh shit, did you hear me? I'm out away from here." So I was talking to my mother. But
oh no, we didn't hear you. Don't tell them.
Anyway, yeah. I used the Instant Pot. It's very nice. Like I got it an air fryer. So.
I haven't either.
That's a good one. It's really funny you mentioned that air fryer, because I was actually just thinking about what do you have? Was it about the air fryer?
No, it's just the air fryer is something that comes up a lot. And it's funny to watch Jermaine every time.
Really?
Yeah.
They sitting there talking about air fry this. I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever. I got an oven. Air fryer.
So you wouldn't be interested in trying an air fryer?
No.
But they have them here.
It's for certain things. It's not for everything. People try and use it for everything, and you can't. It's for like certain, like if you want to make. So I buy salmon cut, and if you season the salmon, you can put the fillet in there on a tin foil or something, and then put it in there for seven or something minutes, and it comes out perfectly crispy. But it'll come out nice and crispy. Or if you cook it on the stove, it's going to be more like soft and tender because it's a stove. Because using oils and stuff. The air fryer just uses heat, air to like cook things. So you can't cook certain things in there, or it's going to prepare it a certain way. I see people trying to cook ribs in Instant Pot, and I was like, "How are you cooking ribs in there? What are you doing?" So certain things you shouldn't put in there, but people's under people. So.
Yeah, but Aunt E or Noreen, because I really can't describe it. Can you describe what sweet bread is? Because they thought it was the brains, and I was like, no, not that sweet bread.
The brains.
No.
To me, it's like coconut bread with red and green cherries in it.
Oh no, I didn't do that, but I never heard. Okay, I never.
Oh, you mean like Jamaican bun cake?
Basically, but
for some reason, I feel isn't it a Jamaican thing? The sweet bread?
Bun and cheese or something.
But that's you are right. That's like the Jamaican bread, which does have the cherries and the raisins. It's quite dark. It's sort of a brown bread.
Oh, not hard dough bread.
Oh, so see, I'm thinking something different.
Okay, yeah.
Hard dough bread in the Caribbean. Well, my parents are Caribbean, but they have hard dough bread, and they got like bun, and then they got like the cake, kind of like not really like a rum cake. Yeah, it's like it has cherries, it's black, and it's not rum cake though. But then they also have rum cake. So but there's a bread that's like hard like that. It's dark, and they have bun, which is like this. You ever have? There's bulla cake too. There's bulla. There's a bunch. They got a lot of stuff.
No, they do.
But Andrew, Andy, could you describe this sweetbread that you had?
Well, you were right with the like coconut. It's coconut flour, coconut water. It's got vanilla essence in it.
That's really good.
Did it have condensed milk too? I think.
No, some recipes do, but not.
Okay,
even.
I can't remember if it did or didn't. I just remember it was sweet.
A lot of sugar.
Cocoa bread.
Yeah.
Is it cocoa bread? That's what you're talking about?
Yeah.
No. Cocoa bread is softer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's quite hard.
This is hard and very firm and very dense, but it's like it looks like a loaf of bread.
Yeah. Yeah.
But cocoa bread is much softer.
Yeah.
And that's the one they have for the beef patties.
Yeah.
Mm. And you
I
can
just eat it by itself.
Yes.
And do you know the mince in the do you know mince pies? I don't know if you have them in the States, but
we don't have mince pies. No,
mince pies?
I haven't had them. I want to have it. A friend of mine got mad at me because he's like, "You have never had mince pie?" Like, no, I'm sorry.
They don't do that in the United States. Yeah.
Okay. Because it's really difficult to describe without having tasted it.
I've seen it.
Yeah.
I always think of like minced meat. Anytime somebody says mince, I think minced meat, and then you put it with pie, and I'm just like, no. No,
but think about it. If you put it with pie, then you have to think of a meat pie, which is like
a chicken pot pie,
right? Like a chicken pot pie, or like a shepherd's pie.
Yeah,
shepherd's pie. Yeah.
I don't fool with shepherd pie either, but chicken pot pie, I can.
It's chicken pot pie, but not a shepherd's pie.
Shepherd's pie.
The shepherd's pie has potatoes on top,
cheese,
and
right?
they roast it, girl.
That's good. I've had that. It's very good.
It's all right, Mo. I'm on my way to vegan. It's all right, Mo. I'm on my way to vegan. Don't worry about it, boo. I'm with you.
Thank you.
Okay, hold the presses right now. Excuse me, Noreen, vegan? What is
this?
I
have to. Meat is like aggravating me. I can't.
You mean if
for whatever reason, the last few times I had meat, it just didn't work.
What did you have? What kind of meat was it?
Last night was the latest moment. I ordered like a crab boil, but it was lobster tail, black mussels, and sausage. And I was just like, no, I've had enough. That was like the sign-in for me. I was already on my way, but that like
pushed me over. Like, oxtail? You can't throw away oxtail.
I need a break. I need a break.
You absolutely can't throw away oxtail.
Rib?
Yeah, no.
Rib?
They can go. They can go. Ribs can go. Oxtail can go. They can go.
What?
You can figure out a way to make something similar, but no, not so much.
I'm trying to fight.
See, y'all saying no because
I had enough.
I'm nodding my head no because I don't have that much of it here. We don't have oxtails running around the corner like every other time. No. I gotta wait until like a month or a week, and like y'all got oxtails this week. Y'all got oxtails.
Oh wow!
It's literally a search for those kind of things here. But ribs, they always have ribs here. But it's I don't
eat that kind of meat often either. Yeah, I eat chicken breasts. The meat I eat like maybe once, twice a week. Chicken breasts and then chicken breast. I don't eat a lot of that meat often. So
yeah, I think.
But when I have it, I want it.
Fish. I think I have more stuff here than I did. I don't eat a lot of beef at all, actually.
Yeah, I don't.
See, that's the thing. See, like when you all were talking about the holidays, my New Year's Eve is always seafood. So I'll have some whitings, I'll have some crab legs, some lobster tails, some shrimp and champagne, and a good big salad. That's New Year's Eve.
That's good.
And that didn't bring me the joy this year.
Aren't you supposed to have cabbage and black-eyed peas?
Isn't that the next day?
I don't have to have that. Lettuce.
I don't eat them.
Have the lettuce.
I don't eat it. I won't.
You won't eat what?
But I was just asking, making sure. I was like, yeah, I thought we were supposed to have cabbage and black-eyed peas on New Year's.
Oh yeah,
That's a
Pete,
girl
for good
cruise.
luck
I
and
can't
all that
remember.
stuff and prosperity.
Who said that?
Who's the people making these decisions? Like, what
Yeah,
is
who said that?
I've never heard
Oh,
this.
historically, it's a thing.
It's good luck for the
It's a
new
thing
year.
for good luck.
Yeah, for money
Greens for money.
Is that why my life sucks? Because I haven't been eating black eyed peas and cabbage? Is that why?
It's actually
For New Year's, I guess so. That might be it. That could have been
My
it.
mom does it every year, and her life seems pretty darn great. I don't in my life. Y'all know my life. So
No, your life's like that
life
because
is
you have that
wonderful.
black cat. You got that black cat going around your house. That's why. Hold up. Yeah, you have a black cat. I want to hear you talk about good luck and bad luck when you have a black cat constantly in your house.
because I don't discriminate. She's black like her mother. She's black like her mother. She's black.
I love it because I don't
Why
discriminate.
the black cat gotta be bad? Why the white cat? Why the black cat gotta be bad?
It's
I
like,
like-
I mean,
Because I see
okay.
some white
I
cats
like the
that are
wheel.
darn nasty.
I like to see the wheels turn in your head where you're like, how can I spin this?
Yeah.
You're just like, because racism. I don't know. Yeah.
How many animals do you have?
She
Most.
really is a murderer. She is a murderer. My cat is she brought me a mouse, a couple of birds, some lizards, like dead
She's like,
stuff
look what I
all the
did.
time.
Should be
Christmas
proud.
dinner.
She brings me dead stuff and brings it to my
She's
front
happy.
porch and be like, look, mama. And I'm like, yeah. I really hate
Showing you
when she
her
does that.
valiant effort.
Right.
Yeah, she's very proud of herself. She is
Right.
very proud. She is a full-fledged murderer.
This is the part in the horror movie when she brings you something and you're not sure what it is and you dismiss it.
I mean, for the most part, I just hide it. Whatever she does, like I just kick it off the step and hope it just goes back to the earth as it's meant to go. I don't touch it. I don't look at. I want no part.
You have a guard cat. She's doing that to show you, as Deval said, like, oh, look, mommy, be proud of me. And it's also a warning. It's also a warning to any other, creatures that are smaller than her, not to come around here because they know what it is. It's skibbity pats on sight.
Yeah.
So sorry.
I didn't know when I got her from the shelter that's who she was. But I love her the same.
You know that you will
Murderer or not.
Via.
I'm sorry, I can't hear you.
Sorry.
letting you know that you will survive an apocalypse. So just keep the cat and you'll be fed and hunter. You say you don't need anyone. You've got a hunter gatherer with you with your cat.
Yes, she is a.
How many cats? You have one cat?
I have two.
Both
I
black?
am. Huh?
Both black?
No, I have a black one and then they call it a tortoise one, which basically all the fur colors like just threw up on her.
Are they like very independent? Like they just go around and they don't even look at you, or are they very like friendly?
My cats are selectively friendly. Like
As
when I
most
want
cats.
attention from, like they demand attention. Like she will walk like on my chest and be like, play with me, pet me. And then when she doesn't want to be bothered, she doesn't want to be bothered. They're both like that. Which it works for me because I don't have the patience to have a very attentive, like a needy animal. I have kids and Dre and no more needy people in my house. No more. It's enough.
My roommates in college, she had a ferret. Well, she had 4 ferrets, and it smelled horrible.
Oh.
She had 4 ferrets, and she never cleaned the cage often. It smelled like piss in the living room, and I hate ferrets. I don't like ferrets like that. For that experience.
They're cute.
Are you all pet owners?
No, I have no animals.
No.
You should get you a friend.
Huh?
Get you a friend. Everybody needs a friend. Get you a friend.
I don't want no pet.
Why? Get your pet.
No. Mm-mm.
I don't. When I was just hoping when she said get a friend, I was just hoping Duvall came back with something like I don't need a friend, I have family or something. I was just expecting you to say something real.
Something wholesome.
I was waiting for it. I was like, he's gonna come back with something.
Nope.
I have family.
Right.
I got human beings. Yeah, I have human beings.
Right. He's like, there's enough people in the house. I don't know. I thought you were gonna put something scripture based or something. It's like I don't know.
I got enough people in my house. I don't need a pet.
It's great. It's like a great practice for parenting. Like if you get a pet, you're like, oh, okay, well, I can handle a kid.
But hold on, you had the kids before you had the pets. You don't need any practice.
Huh? Oh well, no, I had a cat before. I've always had animals, like always. I don't know what it's like not to have pets. Like my parents have 2 dogs. Like we've always had dogs mostly. Even when I was little, my mom had a cat and my dad had a dog. Like we always had pets.
If I were to get a pet, I would want to get. I remember when I went to this guy's house years ago when I was in high school. He had this. It had to be over like 10 or 20 grand. It was a fish tank, and it was the size of it had to be about 20 feet, and he had it customized to the side of this room, and he had all these fish in there, and I thought that's kind of cool. But that's I don't want no animal.
A fish is not.
That's a lot of work. That's a lot of work.
Yeah, the fish is a lot of work.
Yeah, because especially if he has that many fish and something that big, that means whatever fish he has in there, the water has to be right. You know.
I would never get it, but if I had like all that money, I would like get that. But then it's not really a pet. It's like a
display
part of the house. Yeah,
right.
It's not really.
It's
like
a chore. It's an extra chore for you to do.
Well, if you have that type of money, you should hire somebody to come in there and do the thing with the fish.
And then why get the fish?
Because
it's pretty.
There's like people to get a fish tank like that, and they have like sharks in it. It's just like what? It's like that's a lot of like. Are you a Bond villain? It's like what are you doing?
Bond villain.
I mean, yeah.
Oh my god!
But or I guess it's mostly for aesthetic because the ones at least the ones I've seen, the sharks that they have aren't like man size. Right, and they're probably like nurse sharks or something. Oh, that's a pretty cat.
Hey.
Oh, that's a pretty cat.
What's the cat's name? Is it a boy or a girl cat? What's the name?
Oh, both my cats are girls. I was not bringing any more boys into my house. She's Spice because she's all the spices. Some coriander, some cinnamon, some black pepper, salt, Spice. For the most part, that's my good girl. No, I lied. She's not a good girl. But go ahead. Sorry. I'm blind. She climbs like my screens outside of my house. When she goes outside, like there's holes in my screen where she has climbed up the screen outside. I'm like, little girl, why are you doing that? She also
about getting her declawed.
Oh no, because they go out. They're mostly outside cats. Like they come in at night to sleep, but all day they're out picking it.
No. They have to run in the streets.
I don't want to leave them. Yeah, I don't want to leave them to where they're defenseless. Like if another dog or something ran up on them, that they can't fight back.
There's something I wanted to talk about. I was thinking about this when I was talking to a friend of mine from school, because I was a bus child from my neighborhood to the fancy neighborhood of another area, 45 minutes away from my home. And I was listening, Monique, to your story.
Oh.
Yes. And I was like, oh, the memories just came flooding back on me. And I'm wondering, like, for everyone here, I'm not sure if everyone, went to a predominantly Black school or predominantly white school. I mean, but how many of you got bussed out or went to a school outside of your neighborhood? I don't know how gentle I can say that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I took the bus.
Yeah. And Andy, you just stayed home. Huh?
No, I walked.
Just in the neighborhood.
10 miles in the snow, uphill.
I walked with no shoes. And
Right.
It was a long. Now I look back and I can't imagine how I did it. Just
Right.
no way I would do it now. But I didn't stay there and back. There was no choice in those days. There wasn't a bus that went there anyway, so you had to.
Right. Isn't it funny how that is when you think about things that you did as a kid? It's like, why did I do that? It's like, would you do it again? It's like, God, no, I have a car. It's like,
with that, because I kept thinking about anything and just in like, okay, when I went to school, like I said, I was bused out. So where I was, it was predominantly a white area, and of course, then it was the point of being mixed, it being in an area where there's not a lot of blacks, except for the ones that get bused in. And did the ones that did, some of you that did, or even just were in a mixed school, did a lot of you get, I don't want to say picked on, but I think Monique more so talked about the discovery of really being black. And I guess I kept thinking about it, and that kind of was my thing as well. You really discover how separate you are when you're in situations where. But I mostly got it from other black kids. I got a lot from other black kids. What were a few of you, just briefly, how were your experiences like?
From kindergarten to like 4th grade I went to the same school, and then it was like a Catholic school. And then my parents drove me to school, or my aunt and my cousin. So that was that. There was no bus. And when I went there, I knew I was black, but I knew so our family's from the Caribbean. So we were like, to be honest, so when I got older, the way I saw it was I was with the African black people. The way I was sort of othered was, oh, you're not Black American. You're with them African people, and they would
special black.
You're over there.
Right.
So that's how it was. And I remember when I was on the bus, in 5th grade, I went to a public school, and I always remember this story when I was the first day of 5th grade. I went to this public school called Trinity, and we're going into the gym to be put in our homeroom thing, and then I'm sitting, and then this kid in front of me is this white kid's name is Shane. And then this kid named Wazner comes, and he's like, "You're in my seat." Shane, he's like, "Shane, you're in my seat." And then, so I'm sitting down Indian style, so he used to say, and then the kid's in front of me, and he's like, "You're in my seat." And he's like, Shane's like, "What?" And then Wazner pulls out a knife from his back pocket, puts it to his throat, and says, "Get the F out of my seat. You're in my effing seat." And I'm sitting there like, oh God, I'm gonna die.
Where am I?
This is the first day, right? And so I remember from 5th grade, before 5th grade, I was in this nice Catholic school with the good kids, as they used to say. And then I go to public school for 1 year, and then I started cursing. I started hitting people, like my other cousins. And my mother's like, "Oh, like, we need to get you out of this school." So then I go to this Catholic school for 6th, 7th, and 8th grade, which that's middle school. And then that's where I was like, that's where I knew I was not where I was black, because I remember going to like really not like an othered, but like black and like a cohesive kind of idea was when I wanted to go to my friend. There's 2 twins who were my good friends. They were named Ryan and Justin, and we were into video games and stuff. And he had a birthday party, and I remember I wanted to go to his house for his birthday party. And I went to his house. It was fine. And then he had invited me and this other kid to go to his house to have like a play date kind of thing. And then my mother had said, so I can't remember exactly, but I didn't get invited. And I was like, because this other kid went. And I remember I'd seen them. I was like, so did you guys have this thing? I asked them, did you guys have your play date thing? And they're like, oh yeah, why didn't you come? And I was like, I wanted to go. And then later I had found out that they didn't ask me, or their parents didn't ask. And I told my mother, and I was hurt by that.
Mhm.
And my mother had explained to me, like, this is maybe why, because that type of neighborhood was a very white, kind of Catholic, kind of wealthy neighborhood. And we didn't live in the area. So I was like the minority, one of the minorities in the class. And so I remember that point, I think I was in 6th or 7th grade, when I was like, oh, wow, I'm different. I'm not like everyone's trying to say we're all the same or whatever. I'm over here. And that's when they had like this other Black girl. And I remember they had said, oh, you guys should get married because you're Black. I was like, what? So super crap like that.
Jesus.
Like it used to say. So, and that's when I had to, like, to be honest, that's where I got a lot of anger and stuff for people. I started to, like, I used to get in fights and stuff after school. And I had to, like, where's this anger coming from? It was coming from a lot of that stuff. So, and then I went to Florida, and then that was that. And I went to Florida, and that's
went under witness protection, and
that was a whole different thing. That was a whole different thing, because New York culture and Southern culture is like freaking
things. That's
different. So, but it was I don't know. I guess where I found my identity is I knew what I wasn't, so I knew what I can be. So that's just what I learned that.
And basically, almost like pretty much on your own, because I like I said, I know Monique. I keep going back to yours because I listened to that thing like 3 times, and actually, I want you to say it if you can, or I can mention a little bit of it that really kind of hit me. Which one would you rather?
Whichever you prefer, it's your thing.
No, okay. I'm asking you.
No, you say, because now I'm getting teary. Because you get
so am I. Okay. In what she was talking about, there was a thing, and it was saying, when did you realize you were Black? And she discussed how she had these friends that she played with, and they were both white. There were 2 white girls, but they would, they used to get in kind of arguments back and forth. And this particular time, I can't remember the situation, but all I remember was the incident itself, where one of them, they turned on her and one bit her. I mean, there was a fight that ensued in this chick, and Monique punched them both, hit them both, punched them both. They all went to the principal, and what it was is that since they were white, when Monique hit them, of course, there's a mark. They turn red because they're with their skin. Whereas they were hitting on her. There were 2 of them hitting on Monique, but of course there are no marks. She's not red. And so the counselor, the principal was asking her, like, did you get hurt? Did they hit you? Blah, 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 blah. And she wasn't saying it to say, I hope you're okay. She was asking because she didn't see her face red. She didn't see any marks on her. Because the other 2 girls, of course, when Monique has hit them, they have markings. It's red. Their face is red because they got slapped because of their lighter skin. And I kept thinking about it. I said, the fact that Monique had to almost halfway figure out figuring out that I am separate from these people, and now I have to explain this to an adult at my little young age, why this is occurring, why, and if it hadn't been for the girls to come in and say the truth, that yes, we did hit her, Monique would have gotten in trouble because there was no mark on her.
She didn't believe me that they hit me. She didn't believe it. She was like, well, show me where they did it. Show me. And I'm like, well, here and here. She's like, but where? But they were honest. Luckily, they were honest. They were like, no, we hit her first. Like, we put our hands on her first. And then we went to counseling from there. But they were about to, like, kick me out the school for that incident. Yeah. I went to a really small, really white school. So it was like they were just very zero tolerance when it came to that type of situation. And they thought that I was the aggressor or that I had started something because they couldn't see. I'm like, you could do a lot of stuff to me. It ain't going, I'm not going, I don't.
Just from that point, actually, they mentioned in Sweden, I think it was about 2-3 years ago, that they were having to go around to tell the doctors to diagnose black people differently, because a lot of them, they were saying, you look fine, you're okay, because they look at the color of the skin. They're so used to looking at white people and go, oh, you look a bit pale, or you look a bit, but they look at black skin, they don't know. They didn't even think that, well, they look fine to me. But no, it's not showing on their skin. You have to do a full analysis. You have to go deeper to see if they're all right or not. But it's a very easy get out for a lot of doctors, was to say, well, they looked fine, and it's going blue, so they're not well. So, but it's a horrible scenario to realize that your skin.
I'm sorry.
No, go
I'm
ahead.
sorry. No. And it's weird because, okay, so I'm almost 60. Monique, where are you in your age range? You don't have to give me a date exactly.
Oh, I'm 32. Well, we'll be 32.
Okay. It's so weird to show you how things really haven't changed that much, right?
Right.
So Jermaine, Margot and I walked into Dominican commercial as one of the first few children of color. We'd get chased to the bus station in the 70s, hello, damn near every day, until I said I had enough of this craps. And the same thing, the nun was sitting there looking at me like, oh, you had to be the cause of this fight in the terminal, so we're gonna have to put you out. And here I am going, oh, I'm in trouble, because here we go again, another school I'm about to get in trouble for. But it really was simply, they kept messing with me, like, how long I'm supposed to take this before I get to say, listen, enough is enough, young ladies. Enough is enough. I'm just trying to go to school and do the best that I can in this little thing here. And here we are, 40 years later, same thing. Like, at what point, when does that stop?
It's sad. It's actually really sad when you realise that it hasn't stopped 40 years later. And in fact, we've gone backwards as we even started the whole conversation with people's mentality. It's worse. It's worse. With even more information, it's worse than it was.
And to your point, Andrew, when you were talking about having the doctors, that's also a big thing here in the States, to where you have modern day doctors who diagnose black people differently, because for some reason they think that our pain tolerance is higher. You know, they don't like, there's so many women who, you know, apparently have died during childbirth because, you know, black women are telling the doctors that they're in pain, that they're feeling something, and the doctors are dismissing it. And I remember reading one story to where the husband, he was I think it was a mixed couple. The husband was white, and he was getting upset. He's just like, I'm listening to my wife tell them that she's, you know, in pain, that she needs something. And I think it took him stepping in to say something. But it's crazy, the fact that, you know, these are medical professionals. The fact that we cloned a sheep. That's, you know, to think about that. We took something, took his DNA, and made another thing of that. We can grow an ear on a mouse, but yet they still haven't figured out that black people are just people with higher melanin. It's like the pigment in our skin is like, but to think that we have these, and as you said, it goes back to the whole mentality of not being really human. It's like, oh, they're superhuman. They can take more. It's like, well, look how fast they run. Look how high they can jump. You know, look at all these things. Oh, that's why they're good athletically. That's why they're, you know, can work harder, can work in the sun when we can't, do all these other things. So obviously, if they, you know, they're so tough, we see them go through things. So obviously, you know, if they go through something, you know, it must not be as bad as what they say it is.
Which you could understand if we were talking about people who work on the post or a factory line, or, you know, you could understand if that was still their backwards mentality. But when people are being trained for 5 years in the cutting edge of modern doctoring and science and philosophy and patient wellness and mental health, to still, and that was a big case in England as well. They were saying that black women were a larger amount of black women were dying because doctors had the premise, exactly as you say, Carl, was that they could tolerate more pain. And you go, but didn't at your school you would have known this? They would have known that people didn't have different pain thresholds because of their skin color. I mean, that's almost a very basic thing in your very first lesson, the biology of the human body. The understanding of how the human body works. You dispel any categories or myths or stereotypes because you understand how the human body works. And so I don't get how it can transpose still into people having those beliefs. It's just, I get baffled that people will study for years and still be so ignorant. I mean, it really does.
You would think so. You would think so. In my book, I just had this last semester, I studied to be a doctor of funeral sciences. They were still talking about mongoloid, platismoid, the black people, of course, because we mimic a platypus to them or whatever type of animal. To this day, I could show you the page. Yeah. I could show you the page. So see, is it really about the doctor? Yeah. Or is it about the information that is being pumped into the doctor? And then, so do we blame the doctor or do we blame their teachings and the paper that's given to them to say, oh, this is how you're supposed to do it? That book drives me nuts. I'm so angry about that book, but I can't change the book. So of course, I'm waiting for them to send my diploma so I can have a word, because they keep begging me for, I need an evaluation. I'm saying, well, where's my diploma?
Yeah.
Right? Because trust me, I'm crazy, right? So I'm going to talk about it.
Yeah, you have to make a change. Yeah, I mean, without
when does this? But see, then am I going to make the change in the mention of the book? Like that book, that'll be from 1862. Are we really? The first time I read, I was like, really? Are we still talking about stuff like that? Yeah. Oh, the Negroid has the wider nose with the broader base. Like, really?
And the
crazy thing is, and I was muted the whole time. But, no, I was trying to say what Andrew was talking about the doctors, and it's still that in and of itself it's almost directly related to how in policing, it's people who were raised in a culture they don't understand the community they are policing, so they treat them differently than they would treat Connor and Tanner who's driving, their Camaro. They're gonna treat them differently than a black person driving a Dodge Charger, Hellcat or something. They're gonna
because
approach the situation. Yeah, the good old boys.
Right.
So that's the way they see the world, and that also as he's saying, it's being affected in people who are going to be a doctor. And you would think though that the amount of time that it takes to study and dedicate your life to being a doctor is still different to being a police officer. So you would hope to assume that someone who is a doctor has a greater level of understanding or give credence to knowledge and empathy.
Thinking.
Yes.
Yeah. Critical thinking.
To a degree, but it's almost you wonder why we don't set the same criteria for police education as we would in a doctor. Because they have life and death in their hands. They have people's health in their hands every single minute. So they should be held to just the same standards as a doctor should be.
I never thought it. Yeah, you're right.
And that's
the process. Why are they not?
One of these guys that I follow, he talks about he was and I always say I enjoy following him. He's a white guy. I don't know how aware you are of the term redneck, Andrew, but it's just as far as it in America, he exposed my bias. He looks a certain way, and I was watching him just to be like, okay, well, let me see what this guy has to say. It may be something different, and he's very knowledgeable, and he is on the more left-leaning side, and he has different. I love the way that he breaks down different topics and issues, and he's somebody who used to be in the military, and he always points out how there are so many cops nowadays who want to have this as they call operator mentality. This, oh, they're warriors. They, the whole type of make it home, and they want the gear, they want the kit. He's like, but the difference between you and the people in the military that you're trying to emulate is that they have so many more hours of training. And he was like, that's the difference between you and them. That's why, and there is a higher level of responsibility because, the reason that so many cops are shooting people and they're afraid because they don't have the type of training. They don't put in all the training. They don't put in the effort required to have that confidence so that they're not going out here and making these mistakes. But it also kind of just reminds and it also kind of reminds me of the whole thing. Everything we're talking about just makes it more frustrating when you hear people argue the idea of systematic racism. Because they'll say something like, well, what laws are racist? And this is like, it's not and it's not like they're going to flat out say, all this racist stuff, because we even have audio of a politician talking about how it's like, well, now you have to change the wording so that you can kind of hide, the racism, whatever. But it's the things such as Noreen was saying, it's in the book, it's in the system that's taught, and they have it down. It's not based on any study they actually done, but they have it as if it is, and so they talk about us as if we're something different. So then when they teach it, they address us as we're something different, and they don't see how there's something wrong with that. And the way officers are trained, as Duvall pointed out, they, and they're trying to, some places are trying to do better about, if you are, like I know here in St. Louis, if you're working in the city,
Daniel is having a time of his life.
Yeah, I'm really proud of him. Got lots to say.
Truly.
I want to be like that.
Can you say hi? Hi, thank you.
Okay.
So it's a thing of, you have to be, because the St. Louis County, St. Louis City, if you work if you want to be an officer in the city, you have to live in the city. And the thing of being in the neighborhoods that you are policing in, because it's harder to go into a neighborhood that you live in and try to get away with certain things that they do, because it's like, no, we're going to see you around and we're going to say something to you, but it also reminds me of just the way they look at it. It's like, was it in Texas? I believe it was Texas. Recently, this deputy was let go. So there was a trial in the death of Ahmaud Arbery. And the three men saw this black guy. He was going in a house, and they just knew, for whatever reason, that he was stealing something from this house that they didn't own.
Oh yeah, we know. And they
chased him down. They killed them. They were convicted. They all got life sentences. This officer of the law, on a public forum on social media, said, "Yeah, but that criminal Arbery still got the death penalty." And I think he ended up, they got deleted or whatever, and people came out, but it's just the fact that he thought that was okay to say that whatever he did, and it's just like the criminal is like, okay, we know that these men, they were dumb enough to even record their crime. Tell me the crime that you know for sure that this man did for you to call him a criminal, and not only call him a criminal, but to say that whatever he did, it was worth, right. It was worth him taking. The people who own the place were just like, yeah, he didn't take anything. It's like, if anything, we were more concerned about other people taking stuff. But it's like that. Just the fact that he said that and it's the thing where they say, it's saying the quiet part out loud.
Exactly.
Because that's how they justify this imagery. They see the black skin, they attribute that to violence. It's easier for them to justify and sort of move forward with it. They have been seen black people in media being depicted this way. They assume that they're violent, so therefore I'm going to react this way, as opposed to there's no empathy because they probably don't connect with. It's like when someone says, "I have black friends," and then the black friends are this type of person. But if you went to a certain part of the area, you'd say, "Oh, those are those type of black people," because they like to compartmentalize blackness as being. If I act like this black, then it's a good black. As
you're one of the good ones.
Yeah, you're one of the. Yeah,
Right,
that's
right,
how
right.
they sort of.
Right,
do it in
you
their
speak
mind.
you speak so well, Duvall. You're one of the good black people. You're not like those other black people. You're one of the good ones.
Black people told me that in high school. I remember the teacher told me that one.
Oh, I got that too.
One of the good ones.
Yeah, I got.
Oh my gosh! But even here, I mean, I had that same kind of balance almost happened here with me when I got here, and like I would see other black people, but they were more so Africans because I'm African, I'm American, and they were African. They were literally from Africa, and I would get looked at strange from them. Like I'd be looking like, you know how you go on a trip and you see other black people, you're like, hey, and they're like, hey, you know, because we're here.
Yeah.
Yeah, you do the black people thing.
You do the black people, you know, I remember because I went to Gran Canaria and this guy was walking with the girl, or was with whoever it was, and he saw me and I saw him. We were like, hey, what's up? And then I was like, yeah, got here. It was you know, I'm looking at them like, oh, another black person, and they were looking at me like, what? And I was like, okay, that's not gonna happen. And okay, you know, it happened the whole time. It
Thought you had a friend.
Truly. And I found out from a friend of mine, she said, oh, they're probably trying to figure out what tribe you're from. I was like, excuse me? Tribe? What? You know, and it was kind of because of the fact that after a while, people would ask me, oh, you look like you're from Kenya. Oh, you look like you're from Nigeria. Oh, you look like you're from here. I'm like, I could look like I'm from any African country. I don't know, you know, kind of thing. But in that certain term, when I started working even early on, this is very, very early on, and I had people who would ultimately, they'd listen to me speak. But at the beginning it was more English, and after a while it was more Swedish, and they would ask where I was from, or they would listen and like, oh, you're not, you know, you're from the US. Mm-hmm. You know, because I'm thinking, okay, in my mind I'm thinking, okay, good guess. But after a while I realized with a couple of people who did make the mistake of saying, oh, so what part of Africa are you from? The New York part. You know,
did you say Brooklyn, son?
You know, and I mean to the point where I'm like, okay. And then realized there was a separation even here when it came to Africans and Americans.
Yeah,
you know, I mean, they weren't even looking at me as a black person. It was just, oh, you're not African. Oh, okay, you're American.
They thought I was African.
You know, and I'm like, you know, do you know? Do you know the origin of black people? You know, because I'd wonder, you know, and then at one point I got into a discussion with someone regarding Swedes and the slave trade and this and that, and I had to like, yeah, well, you know, you guys made chains. We weren't involved in that. Yeah, y'all were. I'm sorry to burst your bubbles, but you were, you know, kind of thing, and even to the point of, I mean, even with Vikings. You know, and I love me a great Viking movie, but you know, they're just really good-looking pirates, and they pillaged and they raped and they stole and they did all the kind of things that pirates do. You know, they just did it with long blonde hair and you know.
It's like how I was gonna quickly say. Oh no, go.
No, and that's I know. It's like go. You know, and that premise is what is still carried on even to this day. That separation of what kind of black, and like you say, oh, well, you're the good black, or you're one of the good ones, or you speak so well, and all this other hoo-ha that still continues to move, still continues, you know, to run that train. Go ahead. I'm sorry, Duvall.
No, I was just gonna say, talking about the Vikings, I was like, that's like a group of. This is something I noticed recently, around maybe a couple months ago. You never watch like a mafia movie and they romanticize the mafia, even though there was a group of people who killed many people for money and were a gang. But if you look at Bloods and Crips, it's like they're literally almost the same thing. Actually, the Italian mafia was way more successful at being criminals, but they're seen as cool and suave and interesting, and
Mhm.
but if it's a black gang, it's like, oh, those are just those nasty, you know. It's just a thing of how it's being presented. Or Vikings. Whenever I see Vikings, it's always like this valiant, heroic kind of thing of people going out and doing things like that. And it's like, no, but they're good people who did these things. It's just they look a certain way, you know. They're choosing a group to romanticize for I don't know, media marketing, making everything is about making money of things. So I think that I remember I was reading this thing about how, what was that movie with damn, I don't remember. Let me go Google this movie. I don't want to say the wrong thing. Hold on.
All right.
Yeah,
No, but I was gonna lighten up. I mean, Andy, you have anything?
No, I was just
to
going to say
discuss about
that
it?
the same romanticism goes on with the white serial killers that are seen as something we should all know their names, look into their history, seen as, you know, we almost want statues built of these monsters. It's like, why should we be looking at these people? Why do you see them as something we should know or respect or understand? They're just atrocious monsters in history we should put aside, but they do put this almost romantic
a rite of passage. They give a credence and a rite of passage that there's a level of they need understanding. Why are they this way?
Exactly.
Ain't no understanding other than evil. There ain't nothing to understand. But evil.
Exactly.
And they're easily able to just, when it's a black person, they're easily able to just dismiss. We don't need to understand that.
Yeah, exactly. That's what they are. Yeah. Yeah.
We don't look like them, and they don't look like us, and we only understand what looks like us.
Exactly.
We're not trying to,
and they don't need to understand.
Like.
Or even care, understand.
Right. Yeah. And they don't need to use it or understand it until it's to their liking.
Yeah.
Right. And it's crazy. Like I've seen, especially recently, so many cases to where especially like, unfortunately, like sexual assault. You see something where somebody will rape, affluent guy raped somebody. I remember that one case, the guy, they caught the guy sodomizing a girl behind the trash can or something. And the dad, once again, the unmitigated gall, the caucasity to be like, my son is feeling so bad. He used to love to eat steak, but now he doesn't eat steak anymore. It's just like, I
remember that.
Can we give, be lenient on him, or, and there's
one thing
right. There was this one thing I covered to where this judge this kid, recorded himself sexual assaulting this girl. They were, drinking, whatever, they were young, but he recorded himself doing it. And, once again, as you said, the judge saw the humanity or whatever, or they're able to say, hey, maybe putting this young person in jail will have a negative effect on them or do whatever. It's like they're able to pick and choose when they want to have that
see the humanity.
Right.
Yeah.
See the humanity.
Empathy. They're not able to see the humanity empathy with people that they don't look like, them.
Yeah.
That's mostly what it is. It's they see this person as this way. That's how those people are. So this is what we do to those types of people. When it's, that's just that little boy who raped that girl. He's like my son Johnny. That's how they see it. So they're unable to separate. Yeah.
Yeah, it reminds me of something 𝐒𝐤𝐞𝐜 said that I always think about and stick with. It is, you couldn't. There's no way that you can see me as the same if you treat me the way you do. It's like you can't see somebody as human or whatever. You can't see somebody being the same and treat them certain ways. It's like if you see and when I think about it, it's like, think about the way we treat certain animals. We give certain references to certain animals like dogs and cats, whatever. It's like there's certain animals that we won't eat because we view them as being a certain thing, so we treat them a certain way. To where others we're just like, okay, we can just throw them away or do whatever. And I feel like that's the way some of them look at us. It's just like, well, you're human, but you're kind of you're not really
lower human.
Right? You're not a human like I am, so therefore I can justify treat you a certain way. You don't speak my language. You could be league smarter than I am, but because I can't understand you, I'm going to place you in this thing and call you stupid. Because, it's like, and that's always a crazy thing. It's like, people coming from different countries, maybe even doctors or whatever, but they don't speak English. So they kind of have to start, at a certain point. And you have people who, aren't even on their level intellectually, looking at them a certain way because for some reason the language they speak is somehow thought of as a litmus test for your intelligence or how to look at people, justify people. Like the fact that they can talk about a couple weeks ago, a tree, was it Fox News had a tree that somebody set on fire. They had so many. Right, they were so upset about this tree. They talked about how this tree somehow the tree represented Christmas, Jesus, Hanukkah, and together it represented a bunch of stuff, and Santa Claus, and a bunch of stuff that's contradictory. It's like, well, if it's about Jesus, then it couldn't be about Santa because you're idolizing. Is all these other things that don't make sense.
Yeah, they'd be the first to say, "You take Jesus out of Christmas."
Right.
Yeah, exactly.
They had so much more reference.
Beautiful.
You dirty joker.
That's what happened? They say it's the most beautiful. It was the most beautiful tree you ever saw. It was just beautiful. And I'm like, it don't look better than my tree I got in my house. It's a regular Christmas tree. It's just big.
It was just a big tree. And they rebuilt it. They act like it was the Twin Towers. They're like, we will rebuild. We will be stronger. They spoke more highly of that tree. They cared more about their tree than any of the brown kids that they threw in cage and separated from their parents forever. They had more sympathy for that for this inanimate object than they did for these kids. And they're just like, well, they're kind of getting fed. It's like, look at them. They're in this nice. It's almost like a hotel. It's like, okay, then you go there. You go there and you sit in there, huddled up with somebody else. And to this day, as far as I know, because they didn't bother keeping track of what they were doing, like I said, some of these kids will probably never get to see their parents again. And so now they added to the problem that they complain about with, people coming into this country illegally or whatever. It's just like, okay, well, now what are we supposed to do with these kids?
Get them a tree.
Right. because they can't stand to look at them, or they can't see the humanity in these kids, and they're like, well, they should just came to this country legally. It's just like, but they did. It's like, you just don't understand the laws. It's like they came through legal ports. They were escaping, genocide, or escaping, these conditions, whatever, and they did things legally, yet, and they talk about, they pick and choose when they want things to be legal. They're never
gonna want to understand it. It's not in their desires. People who are going their day-to-day lives, they listen to news 10 minutes in the morning. You're never gonna fully explain yourself to people who are committed to misunderstanding you.
Right.
They're committed to not wanting to know, and they enjoy the community of other people who believe the same thing as they do. It's just a sign of that. This person says this, Candace Owens says this, Trump says it's these people. They want to be in a community because it's just that.
And it just gets crazy.
Definitely a case of where we need better people. I've seen it now. It's even clearer than ever. We need better heroes, and people need to look up to better people. I'm baffled by the American politics and British politics, and I see the people that get voted in to be representatives, and I go, who looks at that person and says, yeah, you're the one for me? I can't, even in all social media and the people that people look up to, you go, why do you look up to these people? What are their values you look up to? Start again and go, what are the values of this person? And why do you have so many heroes? It's like, I get empathy and things that should be of value or of no value. They look good and they said two things. The rest doesn't matter. Like we go back to Drake, he had no values that he wanted there because values they don't mean anything. What do they like as a person? Are they funny? Are they characteristics? Are they humble? Are they nice with their family? The important things aren't important. They look good. They say the right things. Who cares about the rest? And it's a real sad state that we're all in. I mean, it's a real society has led us this way. This route of we don't see each other as valuable at all.
Yeah.
As valuable is us, our time right now, and me and my mask and my me. It's a real selfish years. But I don't know how we all work together to change it. And it's great as we have podcasts and everything, but we are becoming far more isolated with our opinions, it was good to hear that you said, Carl, you listen to other people, or you might see at face value, should I reach out and just have a listen to what this person's saying? Because other people don't. They aren't prepared to listen to that guy and say, what are they saying? Let me listen to it and use critical thinking to say, well, is this worth listening to? Is this utter gibberish? Should I check it out? Should I double check it? Think it.
Listen to so much.
Yeah.
I listen to a lot of content that I don't. Like I was watching this video Candace Owens had, and I'll hear her opinion sometimes, and she has a level of people like that in a certain sense. They have a level of she's more of someone who's interested in money, and she does view her opinion because I don't know if you know anything about Candace Owens, but in her past she had a very traumatic thing happen to her with someone in her high school. And these kids had the story. Basically, the quick story is that she was in high school, and there was this guy that was talking to her, and the guy they were friends or something like that. And then Candace gets a boyfriend, and then that friend felt deserted. So then he called her phone anonymously with the other group of people, saying a bunch of horrible racist things like "You're an nigger, you're a bunch of slaves. My white people should have you chained," all this type of stuff. And then she ended up taking that to like the courts, I think a high-end court, and she ended up winning the court case. And then I guess she won money or something like that. And it happened to her in high school or so. And she was very a liberal person. She was very far left liberal. And then at some point, she switched over to this hot far right Trump side, and she ended up, I guess she realized she's an opportunist, so she makes way more money on that end. And so some of her opinions, I still want to hear what she's a Black person, and so I'm not gonna I don't think that the way we sort of get move forward with people who disagree with us is by insulting them and shaming them, because that just makes it worse. You have to at least give people the time to speak, and even if you disagree with them, you have to. Sometimes people in long format, I feel like news is too short format. If you have long podcasts, people can tell you how dumb sometimes they sound. And so I remember that happened to her when she was I watched her on Joe Rogan, and it's like a 2-hour conversation, and he basically dismembered a lot of her talking points that she gets away with saying on a quick 2-minute clip.
Yeah.
You have to, but people need long form. I think we need longer formats for conversation, because someone can be a grifter and get away with saying something in a quick 2-minute clip on a news show, and it's that's
to that point. It's also, she's one of those people, they know where they can get away with that stuff at. Because as you see, she won't go to a CNN or Roland Martin, because there are people who won't let her get away with that, and so they know not to go over there.
She went to that Diddy thing with Killer Mike.
Yeah, Killer Mike and T.I. Yeah, and I saw that.
There's usually when she has a show, she is very forthright in her Trumpism, so to speak, and she's very unashamedly very how she presents herself. But when she was in the midst of this, was it T.I., Killer Mike, and some other people.
Okay,
and
I
then
remember
in
that
there,
one.
her sort of maneuvering and her talking points changed. It sided towards the conversation, the people and the environment she was in. So if she had really felt that way, I feel as though she would have kept the same energy.
She's one of those people, and I remember she had a thing. She tried to call it Blexit, like a mass exodus of black people from the Democratic Party, and it's one of those things to where it's like, well, there's nobody, or at least no black people I know. There's just that we just feel like the Democratic Party is the greatest. Like, I don't think any one party is the greatest. Both have different things, but it's the thing of the people running the Republican Party right now. It's my thing of, if you guys actually had something that you really felt, vibe with us, then you would be trying to keep us from voting. They know that the more people of color and different things vote, then the less likely they have to win elections. So they try to keep us from voting. You could just, provide policies and different things that actually appeal to us, but they don't want to do that. So they rather just keep us from voting.
Yes.
Right.
All the stuff they do that.
Right.
The right says that.
Right. And then they have the nerve, like, I can't wait for Monday to come around because it's Martin Luther King Day, for all the Republicans to come out and say the one line of the one Dr. King speech that they know, while at the same time going against
their secretary wrote that.
Right.
What?
While going against everything that he stood for, because they keep wanting to go out that judge me by the content of my character, not the color of my skin. It's like, and I am, and the content of your character sucks.
Yeah,
but
exactly.
Candace Owens is one of those people who I say they have a level of awareness. They're smart enough to know what to leave out. Because
they should not have Juneteenth Day. Like, girl,
right.
What?
And
what's
like
the point of it? What does that have to do with?
They know the people that they're trying to go to, and people like her and Ben Shapiro, because they have this thing of, once again, that's the other. It's like, well, why can't they just celebrate July 4th? It's like, well, because technically we weren't free of July 4th. It's like Juneteenth is something for us. It's like, you don't have to celebrate it. We're not invalidating July 4th. So why does it bother you that we have something for us?
You had Republicans being like, you had like white people on that side who were like, I don't know, maybe they should have Juneteenth. And Candace was like, no, they shouldn't.
Right. Like, it's like the people.
Like, come on. Yeah.
It's like when Stacey Dash was just like, why, they have BET Black Entertainment. Why don't they have? She said something stupid like, she was talking against BET and having HBCUs, and it's just like, well, the reason we have those things is because HBCUs is because we couldn't get into the schools that you had, so we made stuff for our own. BET, for all of its flaws, is like, you didn't feature us on your stuff, so we had something to where we can feature ourselves.
The intention of why it was created. Yeah.
Right. But they
to celebrate black people that don't get looked at by white people ever.
Right.
And that is like, that is overall. Anything that it's done separately. All the time during segregation, and then we come to whatever point in time where representation matters. That whole thing, representation matters. So when we didn't see it represented, we created a place where we can be represented. And then they get mad. But why they have to do that? Because y'all are everywhere.
Right.
And we have nothing. So now we created something. Just like Telemundo. Telemundo, Hispanics didn't have nothing, they have Telemundo. And nobody said nothing about that.
When they see it, and they're just like, oh, that's cool. We want that. And it's like what the little Kev meme, it's for black people anyway. And so now we come up with something because we push a culture, we push different things. And so when we go over here and do something, they look at it and they'll be like, oh, well, that's cool too. I want to do that. It's like, no. And it's not like we don't want you to enjoy it, but some of you guys have such a history and such a tendency to take things that I don't want to say didn't belong to you, but take something from somewhere else. But to look at something and be like, oh, that's cool, and then try to erase the people to where it came from, and then act like that they didn't, create that, such as the white woman who tried to say that she created the bonnet, even though that was something that she had a company, and then people just like, no, it's like it's a quick Google search to where, and this is like recently, and the whole thing, them talking about like what was frustrating with the whole Miley Cyrus and twerking. It's just like, I saw that in high school. It's like, what are y'all talking about? Box braids and just so many little things to where, the fact that, they try to say Taco Bell is Mexican food. No, it's not. It's just so many different things to where they'll take from it. And it's okay to appreciate another culture. Like I enjoy
don't propagate it.
Right. I enjoy anime and different things. I appreciate that culture. I'm never going to look at it and be like, now how can we do it but leave out the Asian people? It's just like, well, you can't, because that's their culture. It's like that's their things. You can't say I want the thing, but not the people that created it. Like you can't, erase those people.
But that's what they want.
Right.
Whether it happens or not is a whole different thing, and that's the biggest thing. But I have a topic. This is one of the last topics, and I think it is very important that we discuss this.
Okay.
All right. Because it's been on my mind and heavy on my heart. Which one of these things would you choose if this was your last meal?
I knew it was something about food.
Fried chicken or fried fish?
Chicken.
Fish. Fried fish? Fried fish is...
Chicken.
Monique was like, please.
Fried fish. Fried fish had... Okay, this is it. Fried chicken, fried fish, right? Fried chicken has a sort of limit to how good it can be. Fried fish it can be way better. Sorry. There's a higher threshold for where fish can taste better than chicken can. And chicken is limited. Chicken is good. Fried chicken is good, but it can only be this good, like a 7. Fried fish can be like a 16. So, yeah.
I don't know nothing about it. Here in Arkansas, it's chicken. Even though I do love a good piece of fried catfish, fried chicken meat every day, all day. Every day, all day. I do love a piece of eons. I do love fried catfish with white bread. I do.
Fried chicken is consistent. Fried chicken is consistent. People like consistency. So people are geared towards, you can pretty much go anywhere that makes fried chicken, and it won't be the best, but it'll be okay. If the worst will be.
If I was in the US, I could say that.
Listen, this is what we can do. This is what we can do. We can compare the fast food places. We could do like a KFC versus a Long John Silver's. Which one you going to? Or Captain D's. Any day. A Popeyes beats any of those any day. A Popeyes.
I'm trying to think of the best. I don't know. It's not really fried chicken. I was gonna say Chick-fil-A, but that's my favorite fast food place. So that's not really fried chicken.
I'll allow it.
Chick-fil-A is the greatest fast food. Not even close.
Fried chicken, wherever you got it from, and which one you would choose, you'd allow it. Okay.
I'll allow it. But I'm just saying, any day, Captain D's, Long John Silver is the bottom of the bottom
Captain
of my
D's?
feet. Yeah, you don't know. Oh, it's fast food fried fish place. Oh, they do other kinds of fish.
It's salt and fish.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
I've had Long John Silver's twice in my life because they go bankrupt. Because I wonder why.
Because they're horrible. But there's a lot of Popeyes.
Because it's breaded.
KFCs, a lot of Chick-fil-A's. Fried
KFC better than Long John
winning.
Silver's. KFC was there though back in the days. Right when we were in the trenches. KFC was there. Same with the McChicken when it was $1. McChicken was there for you. People like to come at McChicken. KFC was there. So Chick-fil-A is still my favorite.
I have no qualms. I'm just saying, if we're comparing, we're going to compare. And no, we don't have Shake Shack.
Oh.
You only just talking so foreign to me and Andy. We are like,
I'm
sorry.
I'm trying to remember all these places.
I know.
I'm sorry.
I mean, I know Popeyes. I've never been to a Long John Silver's, but I know Popeyes I went to a Shake Shack once. I didn't have no chicken. No, was it Shake Shack? It was the one with the looks like the racing stripes. Is that Shake Shack? No.
Oh, Checkers or Rallies? Checkers.
The one with all the
Checkers,
French
Rallies,
fries.
Checkers.
Is it season?
No, In and Out.
Like-
In and Out. In and Out. In and Out.
In and Out.
It was In and Out.
Oh,
I've been
I
there
don't know
like
that.
about 4 or 5 years ago. I was in Colorado with a friend of mine, and she took
I had
me
In and
there.
Out once when I went to California.
I've
It's
never
good.
had it.
It's
Uh,
overhyped. It's one of those things where it's like it's a tourist thing.
No,
In
yeah.
and Out has become like I can post this as Instagram. I'm in LA. I had In and Out, and people.
Right, that's
it's
what I
like
saw a
that
lot
type
of.
of thing.
That's what I
Yeah.
saw a lot of.
Shake
Okay,
Shack is the
so-
greatest fast food burger place. It's just too expensive,
Okay.
but it's top tier. Like McDonald's, and I like don't even say that. It's insulting. And Burger King is like they should get at the dogs. They shouldn't get at the rats. And then
They
Chick-fil-A
say-
though. Chick-fil-A is the that. Hey,
I
when you
agree.
get your food at Chick-fil-A, God bless you. So okay, thank you.
God
That
bless you.
Chick-fil-A is the best.
Where,
Yeah.
where are you
My
at
pleasure.
on Hardee's?
I never had Hardee's.
Hardee's?
I never had.
Alright.
They don't have that here. Wait, do
What
they
about
have
Carl's?
Hardee's
What
around?
about Carl Jr.'s? It's the same thing, but they just
I don't
Do
think
they have
that
chicken
in this area.
or fish?
they well no
Let me
wait.
see.
The
me
funny
Google
thing
that.
about Hardee's is that like when I was growing up, no they do. They used to be like a fried chicken place. Like legit, it's like they used to be kind of like a like churches or whatever. You could buy like a box of chicken, and then I want to say like maybe like 15, 20 years ago they like did a complete they rebooted Hardee's. Pretty much they rebooted. They stopped doing that and they start selling like Angus beef burgers, and it's delicious, and the burgers are huge.
This
They're
is
pretty
what
much-
I googled. When I googled Hardee's, this is what it gave me. Hardee's.
What the hell is that?
What is that?
It's
I
a
don't know.
Y. It's a Y.
That is not
Y.
that is not Hardee's.
It's not Hardee's. It's a Y. It's a Y.
They don't have it here.
No, it might not be a Y. I might be lying. There's one right up the street.
It's
from me, but I don't ever go.
it's
Okay.
HARDEE apostrophe S.
That's what he had.
I know what it looks like.
Yeah.
Hardee's is
All right.
This is Hardee's. I know what it looks like. We don't have it in
Okay.
this region.
Right.
Okay.
Okay, so Monique, you
We have
chicken.
Checkers.
Duval,
Chicken.
Chicken. Yes, I said Monique is
Fish,
chicken.
fried fish.
Duval is
Chicken.
fish. Carl.
Chicken.
Yeah,
Chicken,
I guess.
Paul. Chicken.
Hush. I don't know. I guess chicken. I don't know. I don't feel. I don't want to say too strong in one way or another. It's like because chicken is the goat. I don't necessarily agree that there's a cap. Sorry, I have to cover his mouth right now. I don't believe there's a cap to how good fried chicken can be. I believe that's disrespectful to the chicken and the cook.
Oh, no.
Let that chicken, let
Yes,
that chicken
yes.
be chicken. Let that chicken, you know, it is disrespectful. You have to let the chicken rise. Chicken has wings. You want to let that chicken soar. You want to let that chicken be the best it can be. Let that chicken, let the seasoning seep in that chicken, that bone. Let that chicken be marinated. Let that chicken be fried, baked, battered, whatever it may be. Let that chicken go on. Let that you can have it in strips. You can have it in nuggets. You can have it in chunks. Do not shackle my chicken, brother. Do not tell my chicken what it can be. Do not tell my chicken how good it can be. That chicken can be as good as it is. Sometimes the chicken that you have is because the chicken that you bought, the values of the chicken that you went to wasn't good enough. That's why the chicken has a limit. Just like drinking a young woman. The woman that he picked didn't have values, just as the chicken that you picked didn't have the good values that you was looking for. You went fishing for some good fish. How about you put that same energy that you went looking for the fish that you do looking for the chicken? How about you put that same energy in it? You look the fish. You don't look at the chicken the same way you look at the fish because you took the chicken for granted. The chicken has always been there for you. The chicken has been there when you was hungry, when you was tired, when you didn't have nothing in your name. The big chicken was there when it was just $1. You can't buy no fish sandwich for $1. You take it for granted. But if it was gone, my brother, if chicken was out of your life forever, my brother, you would miss that chicken. You would say, I didn't appreciate you when I had the chance. You would say that, oh, if I only had the chance to come back and say, I miss you, I love you, I want to eat you. Cluck, cluck. That's all I got to say.
Carl, chicken. Thank you, Carl. Thank you. Okay.
Oh,
He chose chicken.
well,
Noreen.
I felt the
you
spirit a little
recorded
bit
that.
too. I
Oh,
felt
my face hurt.
Ooh, child.
That is
Yeah, that was
recorded,
good.
right? Because you know I'm going back to look at that sermon. I can't
Not
even
only,
respond.
I'm
I'm
gonna
going to
clip
leave
it and put it
to
up.
you.
I got to clip that piece.
All right now.
Oh, child.
Reverend Carl Liggins.
Took us all into the church there, Carl. Ooh,
Mhm.
but just for some chicken.
That's why the churches is called the church's chicken. That's why it is. Right there. Right
Duvall
there.
still said fish. He ain't changing his
I still
mind.
say fish. Nope.
Noreen, Annie.
Well, after Carl said that, man, I mean, to be honest, with me, it would have to be depending on what it was. Depending on, it's like there's, for me, chicken's kind of a bit faster food and fish is slower. So there's dinner or if I'm out. So
Fried fish or fried chicken?
Think of it like
it's
the
just
way
fried or
the best fish you could get, the best fried fish you could get versus the best chicken. The best fish is better than the best fried chicken. That's how I see it.
If I was at a restaurant, I would choose the fish over the chicken.
Oh, thank you.
I would go, but if I was out, when I'm out during the day, I want my chicken over the fish. So if it's faster, I want the chicken. For example, for New Year's, for New Year's, I made a fish in orange with orange sauce with prawns and fish.
Ooh,
the idea of doing chicken to that, I wouldn't be able to get infusion of flavors that with chicken I can do a very good chicken, which in my opinion, but to do it with the fish, different types of fish give different texture. So it depends on where I am. So if I'm out, I want my chicken. As soon as I went to London, I bought all my chicken. I'm like chicken crazy and I've got my box and I'm happy. But if I'm eating and I'm going to take my time and I'm going to have a glass of wine and I'm going to discuss politics, everything wrong with the world, I'm going to have fish. So can I say a bit of both? One for starters and one for one for main.
Okay, Duvall and Andy are fish. Noreen.
Okay, so you know I'm in a weird place. But
if you weren't in that weird place,
that sermon has me, but I'm going for fish.
Ooh.
I am just devastated. Jermaine, brown woman.
Well, we about to wrap up.
Jermaine,
okay.
Is it the preacher's chicken?
Because here's the thing. We don't have a lot of chicken here, fried chicken at all. So anytime there's chicken, I'm frying it. So I'll, and I worked on perfecting the crust and the this, and I want this, and I want that, and I'm like, chicken. I don't fry a lot of fish. There's something about, there's one, I can't find no catfish, and I don't like the texture of some of the other fish. Even though the same fish like cod and stuff that we probably have in this, it just has, it's probably the water gives it a whole different texture. But I mostly eat a lot of salmon.
I go to.
And so, I really like chicken.
I hope you see the disappointment on my face as I'm shaking my head.
Go ahead.
I see where this
Pull
is
the
going.
Band-Aid off.
But go ahead, carry on. I'm sorry.
But before you get that answer, I just have to ask y'all one question. What other food is so good that just the skin alone is tasty?
Oh, that's messed up. That's messed up. That is
think about that.
Not
the
really,
skin, not the whole part of the chicken, just that fried skin.
For me right now, sorry.
I'm
gonna be a vegan in the joint. Sorry, Jermaine. I'm being vegan in the joint. I'm being one to spoil it all the time.
No, I might have. The thing about it, okay, here's the thing. I have not had, like I said, I haven't had fried fish in a really, really long time. The only thing I've had so far is fried chicken. I think I'm in the box with Andy, where if I went out to a restaurant that can do fried fish, I would get it. Since I am not in a place that can do fried fish or much, and they have a Kentucky Fried Chicken, and that's like, you know, and then they have other chicken places. They're like, they look pretty, but I'm like, did you forget the salt and pepper? I mean, basic salt and pepper. Don't just stick it in there and fry it and think oil seasoning, because it ain't. I'm actually I'm gonna have to choose chicken. I'm gonna have to choose chicken. Only because I haven't had fried fish, and I would love some fried fish, but I would want, if you gave me a choice right now, I'd like a good piece of fried chicken. Just to say I've had a good piece of fried chicken if it wasn't my own. But I would surely go for some fried catfish in a minute.
So, both delicious, both delicious, but
both
just
delicious pieces of thing. I adore them both. I would want them both, but I have to go with what I can possibly get here.
Okay, I can put my earrings back on now. We ain't gonna fight now. We're not fighting. So
Crown Bruges, watch out, man. She can't tell. Okay, it's fine. But thank you guys so much. This has been really great. This has been 2.5 hours of greatness right here. I really enjoyed this. I hope you guys did too. I hope everybody watching did as well. I had a great time talking to you, Andy, and Duval stepping in. I love that. And Duval, and Carl, and Noreen, and Monique. Yeah. I'm so glad you got here, girl.
Your hair looks so nice, Mo.
And your hair looks so pretty. It looks so pretty.
This is fresh out the bonnet, and oh Lord, come on, hair, do something.
Let me shake it out. It'd be all
right.
Yeah,
it don't shake though. It don't shake because I washed it at the house. It don't shake. If I go let the lady wash it, it shake. But when I do it, it don't really.
It don't shake. But I'm so glad you guys just stay here. I'm so glad you guys could be with us this evening. We had a really great time. And yes, I'll be back in a few weeks to have a great panel again. And I think it'll be Black History Month. So we will see what happens next month and see what all the politics will be about. It's going to be different.
Somebody's going to come out with blackface and like they always do. Someone's going to
come out with blackface and say they didn't know. I didn't know. I didn't know that me as a white person putting on black makeup and pretending to be coonish and only pretending to be this thug or whatever. I didn't know that was offensive. I had no way of knowing that besides the other 10 people who got caught and was in trouble, besides having the internet and seeing that was the issue. I had no idea. You have to understand. I know I'm 75 and should have caught on to this by now, but please forgive me.
And with that, and those sweet Africans will. Hello, because they so loving.
And with that, we are all going to say good night and good afternoon to everybody. So glad you guys could come on. Like I said, back in a few weeks. It'll be Black History Month. It's going to be something else.